Broadcasting live from Youngville, North Carolina and Ontario, Canada. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly show where Vicky Rowe and AJ Airmans bring you the mead news, meadery info, and mead-making discussions from all over, talking with mead makers, mead owners, industry mavens, and influencers. This is Got Mead Live, a weekly podcast about mead and the people who love it and where the mead world is going. And now here are your hosts, Got Mead owner Vicky Rowe and mead and wine maker AJ Airmans.
From the den of the puppies of the apocalypse in northern Michigan, the bunny pen in Ottawa, Canada, and the palatial retirement estate in Minnesota, it's Got Mead Live. Welcome to the show. I want to say thanks to all the folks who have renewed or signed up for their Got Mead patron memberships. That is what provides the funds that we need to keep the show on the air and keep building out Got Mead and providing, mead information for y'all. So, thank you. If you aren't already a patron member, you can do that for $30 a year and get access to the patron Facebook group, the patron boards on the Got Mead forum, and there's some really good mead recipes in there, as well as tons and tons and tons of knowledge. I mean, just an absolute fountain of knowledge on mead making in there. 50 cents a week or so get you access to all of that. You can create a free account on the Got Mead forum at gotmead.com/community. And from there, if you choose to become a patron, you can upgrade. So thank you again. If you want to catch us live, you can find us on YouTube, Twitch, X, and the Facebook Got Mead page. Chat is part of our podcast, so just comment from wherever you're watching. We'll see it. On Twitch, we are twitch.tv/meadwench. YouTube is youtube.com/@gotmead. X is x.com/realgotmead. And Facebook is facebook.com/gotmead. And of course, the Got Mead page is at facebook.com/gotmead. And our main group is facebook.com/groups/gotmead. We will ask you a couple of questions to join that group, so please answer them and we'll get you right in. On X, we are, or Twitter, if you're still calling it that, at Real Got Mead. Feel free to tweet us. I'm usually paying attention. And if you want to send us questions, comments, people you think we need to have on the show, criticisms, whatever, you can go to gotmead.com, put your mouse over, but don't click Got Mead Live Radio Show, and click the drop down instead. That'll take you to a form that when you send it, it comes to all three of us. So we're good there. Tonight, we are talking with Joseph and Tricia Marshall, who are owners of Lily Belle Meads in Lancaster, New York. And we are so happy to have them here. Thank you guys for coming on. We really appreciate it. We're just getting ready to do our What Are We Drinking? So y'all get prepared if you're not already. I want to do a shout out for our lovely sponsors, Honeybrook Craft Meadery, calling all mead lovers and adventure seekers. Look no further than Honeybrook Craft Meadery for your go-to destination for wonderful, light, and refreshing mead. With a location in Castle Rock, Colorado, and the new Garden Cottage experience in Littleton, Colorado, you can go to Honeybrook, HONNIBrook.com to review the tap list, upcoming events, and order online. They ship all over the country. And I can tell you, they ship to Michigan. I know this. And our other one is this amazing Magical Meadery Tour in Europe from July 23rd to August 2nd, 2025. Take a Magical Meadery Tour and step into the heart of Central Europe on a journey that blends history, culture, and craft in three remarkable capitals, Prague, Bratislava, and Warsaw. Explore vibrant cityscapes and quiet countryside, from medieval old towns and historic abbeys to family-run meaderies and world-renowned breweries. You'll visit the Mead Museum in Prague, Strahov Monastery Brewery, Pilsner Urquell Brewery, Apamed Mead, Bronislav Novosedlik Mead, Riktar Jakob Brewery, Pasiaki Yados Mead, Corpo Mead, and Apis Mead. This tour is limited to 25 people. You can reserve your spot now at europeandiscoveries.com/tours/250-723-CMM. And that's Mary Mary at the end there. And feel free to reach out with the link is also on our show page, so you can get it there if that wasn't good, clear enough, or I don't sound like you, whatever.
We're having a day.
We are having a day. Yeah, I'm discombobulated because I had a meeting like just before the show, and that never. Usually, I have my downtime before the show where I can kind of get my head on and all. And I noticed that my notes on my mead just went bye-bye. I don't know where they went.
They ended up in mine.
Oh, is that where they went? Oh, okay.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
I was like, where'd they go? I didn't delete them. Okay. So welcome, Joseph and Tricia.
Hi there. Thanks for having us.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, glad to. It's good to have you here.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Well, should we have them start with whatever it is that
Yeah,
sampling?
I think we should. What are you guys drinking?
Well, I'll start. I'm drinking one of our meads. It seemed apropos. It's called Black Hole. It is made with it's semi-dry black raspberry and mosaic hops, 5%.
Nice. And I'm drinking our Black Magic, which is spiced mead, semi-sweet, kind of meant like a root beer. So it's got like vanilla notes, a little bit of different anise, licorice, all that stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How about you guys?
Yeah. Kevin, you want to go?
Sure. Yeah, I'm not drinking anything fancy tonight. I topped up 2 barrels, and I wanted to test the SO2 levels, so I ended up blending both of those samples together. One of them is a 100% black currant aged in a former whiskey barrel that had maple syrup aged in it for a year.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome by itself.
I bet.
And the other barrel is a 9 honey Dwozniak trad that I made with Adam Bystrom and Josh Holbrook. And that's been in a rye whiskey barrel for about 9 months.
Okay.
The blend of the two really comes together nicely. It's got some subtle barrel character. It's very floral, beautiful velvety black currant finish. I think blending is awesome, and we probably need to do a show or 5 on this topic.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah, we can definitely do a blending panel or something.
What about you, Vicky? What are you doing?
Well, I went fishing for mead in the mead fridge and found a bottle of Rob Barnhart's Blueberry Melmouth Wildflower Honey from 2018. And it's beautiful. It's got just a touch of oxidation to be expected in a, 6-year-old mead, 7-year-old mead. And but it's blueberry, so it brings something to the table when you have that. It richens it up. This mead is super rich, tons of bright fruit notes, decent amount of acidity, just that touch of oxidation works really great with this mead though. And then in the finish, the flavor just goes on and on and on forever. It's great. And it's warming. It's very nice and warming. So and it's been a chilly, cold, wet day here, so that's a yummy thing. I like that. Thank you, Rob. Well done.
Yeah, I've got the rest of Tracy's blueberry jackfruit mead. So we're both on a blueberry night. And warming and finish for miles. Yeah, totally with you on that. I think that might be a blueberry thing.
Could be, yeah. This isn't going to last very long, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I've only got 3/4 of a glass of this, so I may get into something else later.
Well, I have to walk to the other end of the house, so I have to make do with what I got and then switch to water. But so, all right, now that we've all got our drinks and everything, and we've got Joe and Tricia here, so you go with Joseph or Joe?
Oh, just Joe's fine, unless you guys are feeling fancy.
Okay, wasn't sure. Some people are, particular, so figured I'd ask. I say when people call me Victoria, I just give them the evil eye because that's not my name. It's not. My name is Vicky. Yeah, that's my name on my birth certificate is Vicky, not Victoria. So yeah, not my name. But well, cool. So you guys have been doing mead in general for what, about 9-10 years?
Yeah, about 9 years. Yeah.
Okay. And it all started when Tricia got you a home brewing beer kit.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know how many of us started that way.
And then she kindly got herself a homemaking wine kit.
Well, obviously, she is an excellent wife.
And if you had so much fun, why shouldn't she? Right?
Yeah, right.
And they were both great birthday presents for me, so I like them both.
Absolutely, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. I guess it started back then. I mean, this was 2004, I think. Yeah, so home brewing. Yeah, way before kids. My goodness.
Yeah.
2004 is about when I started too. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I feel old.
Yeah. My kids are 17 and 18
Yeah,
now, so,
my kid's 30, going to be 31 in a couple of months, and she's got 2 kids of her own. So I hear you. Yeah. Grandbabies that I never get to see, but it's what it is,
That's rough.
Yeah, they live on the other side of the country, so it's tough. And they're currently living in an RV while they're looking for land to build a house on, or land with a house. And yeah. So we'd have to, like hotel it, yada yada yada, and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done that before.
Yeah. And it may come to that, but I'm really kind of hoping to find a house so I can stay in the spare bedroom and not, because hotel prices are stupid out west. And they're bad enough out here. And when you go out into the hinterlands here, which is what I was in Merrillville last weekend. So you guys ought to get your meat into the was it meat at the Sugar Belt? That was
we ended up talking with them. I think we just got a hold of them a little too late, and they were really amenable to it, but in the end we just couldn't figure out logistically how to get out there and make it all work. But
yeah, I hear you. Merrillville's a nice little town, and the venue that they've got is fabulous. It's just like this sort of open park pavilion thing. And so they've got like an artificial grass area facing down, and it kind of slopes down to like a music pavilion. And then on the other side, they've got this huge awning that covers like a ridiculous amount of space, like a big enough space that you could hold a horse show in there, if that makes any sense. Yeah. AJ will know what I'm talking about. But I mean, it's big enough to do like a dressage ring, and they just line the meaderies up inside, and everybody walks around the outside drinking,
Nice.
Yeah. So it was like,
yeah.
Sorry?
Oh, we've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, it's a good event. It's a great way to get out in front of people at that, and everybody runs out of their mead. So I hear they had about 500. They had 500-600 people this year.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so pretty good turnout. Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I got to pour for Tree Hive, Corey Mason at Tree Hive, and who I've got to get on the show, and I just had a blast standing there and pouring meads for people. One of the meads he was pouring was called Second Breakfast. Yeah. So all day here's me with a bad Irish accent or a bad, Welsh accent going second breakfast,
We've had one, yes.
I could not do it that way. It's like, I could hear Pippin's voice in my head. Oh God. But it was great. They had, and then you had another one that was called, oh God, what was it? It was, oh shoot! What is that? What is that horrible wine that everybody's playing with, and it tastes like ass?
Tastes like ass.
Yeah, Chris Clark is into it, and he puts it in. Oh, what's it called? Shoot, I can see the word in my head, and I can't like.
You don't mean Malort?
That's it. Yes, they had. Okay, so one of the meads.
It's not wine though.
No. Okay. What is it?
Distilled spirits.
Oh, it's okay. So it's like so sort of like Jaeger, only worse.
Yeah, it's not. Let's say it's an acquired taste.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. So he made he called it Mule Lort, and it was basically a Moscow mule with Malort, and they'd aged the mule mead in a Malort barrel.
Didn't he bring some of that to Valkyrie's?
He may very well have.
Could have sworn I tasted that.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. There wasn't a ton of malortiness going on in that. So I liked it, and I like mules. I like Moscow mules. So, that was cool. But Chris over at Four Fires had some really weird shit going on. Some of his meads, all of his meads were good, but the Malort ones, I was just like, no, I'll pass. I'll take that one though. Not my thing. Anything that's worse than Jaeger is not passing my lips. Not happening. So
I see in your product listing, you have numerous Bouchers. In fact, probably almost half of your current offerings are Bouchers. Maybe
we certainly do. We have one. We have two right now, actually. We do our Bobby, and then we do our barrel-aged version of Bobby. We have in the past done, oh my gosh, Nutty Helen, which was one with I can't even remember now.
Walnuts and
maple syrup. Yeah, we've done them with peppers. We've done it.
Well, that's fun.
We've done
Nightcap. That's another one, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, gosh, I forgot that. Yeah,
good. Barrel aged. So I've found 3 already just in your list. So obviously you've got a thing for Bouchers. So maybe tell us a little bit about your process there, how you approach that, what you find attractive about it.
I wish I could say it's a fancy process. It's not at all. But I guess, I don't know, when did we start? Maybe 2015 homebrewing or so, 2014. We heard about it on another podcast. We'd heard about somebody doing it in a crock pot, and then we made 13% ABV versions with different ratios of Boucher honey in there, like 25%, 50%, 75%. And we took it to all our homebrewing friends at a Super Bowl party.
Super Bowl party.
Well, they all said 50%. That's where it is, and that became Bobby. And Bobby's been a mainstay for us for a long time. But the actual process, we use roasting pans at this point, and go about a bucket of honey, 60 pounds at a time, and basically do it all week long, every day for 5, 8, 10 hours, whatever it takes till it's done. And then and then I know a lot of people use barrels and aviation fuel heater bands and things. We just haven't gotten that far into that at this point.
So when you say you do it every day for a week, are you doing the same bucket every day for a week, or are you doing a new bucket every day?
New bucket, new bucket every day until we get up to 300-400 pounds.
I see.
Yep. A really dark product.
Yeah, like and a lot of people, Boucher's vary, from almost like a light amber ale to very dark. Ours is very dark. If you hold it up,
of course,
it's very it's like Pepsi if you hold it in the light.
Wow.
But then we cut it.
Then we end up, so we'll take that, ferment it to 13%, and then we'll back sweeten it, and about 50-50, but it's the ratio is different every time, just because Boucher is never an exact science. It's never the same. So it's unfortunately something we have to taste test. Yes. And we're not good at spitting it down the drain.
Me neither. So don't feel bad. Especially if it's really tasty. It's like, I'm not going to waste this. Come on. That's not the way I was raised.
And that's the funny part for me anyways, is it's a very popular, and we use it in cocktails. We use it in many things in our taproom, but I drink it when we're mixing it. I drink it when we're bottling it. And then I almost never touch it. Here and there, just basic quality control, because it's part of my job.
Right.
Very cool. Wait, you don't have a bevy of taste testers that volunteering to say, hey, we'll help you with that?
Funny is, people tend to do that a lot. It's really weird. I was surprised.
I know. It's like, why would they do that?
Now the question is, do you trust them enough to let them?
Yeah.
Some people, yes. Yeah, we absolutely have customers that I think have far better palates than we do, and they're the ones that will absolutely be like, all right, try this. Almost like, do you like the ratio, or like, are you getting a flaw in this or something? Like, we'll absolutely people with that.
And you got to get that. You got to get the people that are honest, because I've run into so many people that'll tell you whatever they think you want to hear, because that's what people do. And I would go, no, tell me what you really think. You know, I want to know the truth. If the truth is you think it's amazing, that's fabulous. Thank you very much. And I'll keep doing what I'm doing. But, you know, if you think that there's room for improvement, I want to know. So, I mean, when I made my Chamerlot, the Chamberson Merlot Pie Mint, I took the last bottle of it, which was 10 years old at the time. AJ, you were with me when I brought that out, I believe. And at Mazer, and gave it to people like Pete and, you know, and Carvin and a bunch of other people, and was like, you know, because I know these people are going to be not just honest, but brutally honest. Oh yeah, you know, like I don't care if I make it. Yeah, I don't care if I make you cry, but you'll have a better mead when I'm done with it, you know. But it was, you know, it was just really good to have that. And when I got Pete and Carvin going, this is really, really good, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Then of course you got to repeat that.
Yeah, we have a friend, another brewer in town, and he's kind of like Kramer from Seinfeld. Like, there's just no filter. Like, he will tell you exactly. If you need a nose job, he'll tell you, like that kind of thing. But yeah, he I'll just give him meads, and he loves meads too. He's a great brewer, like beer brewer, but he loves the meads too. And I'll give it to him and just ask him, and he will tell me point blank if it's like, if he says it's good, I know it's good. I trust him that way, because he will absolutely it's when it's not.
Very nice.
Yeah. It's important to be able to trust people to review your stuff for real.
It is. I mean, I used to, if I have negative things to say about a mead, it's something I say privately to that person. I opened one earlier for the show and tasted it, and well, it hadn't held up very well, so I set that one aside and got a different one. You know, and you know, I want to make sure that somebody's got, you know, that they get good feedback, but I don't want them to get feedback if it is a needs improvement kind of feedback, you know, publicly.
Right. Sure. Yeah, actually, last night I was at a Brewers Association meeting, and the whole exercise we were doing was, and obviously I'm the only person there who brings, you know, only meadery there, but we're sampling beers, and basically people saying, like, looking for flaws or looking for whatever. And I mean, I'm sitting down at a table with the guy who brews for Hofbrauhaus here. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to tell him, but he wants, like, I'm sure, like, it's fine, but at the same time, like, the way we did it was really interesting. Just in you're amongst peers, you're amongst people who are, you know, not going to, you know, trash you on social media or something like that. It was like a safe place where you could hear that you had flaws in something, or hear that, you know, they did. And yeah, I think that's having that circle is important, because you get way too close to it yourself.
Yeah, it really is.
I'm curious, in that setting, did they adulterate any of the beers that you were sampling in an effort to educate you about flaws and what you're tasting?
No, I mean, we're versed in that as well. At least I am on your side. Yeah, no, this was just, they brought like their brew sheets, and they brought, you know, their stats, and like, okay, this is what I mashed at. This is what I, you know, this is what I used to temperature. And then we're looking for, but because that way you can tell, like, okay, I taste something, but, you know, they're looking for not even just flaws, but just constructive feedback on how to make their products better.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So you started out making beer.
Yes.
And Tricia, you started out making wine, yeah?
Correct.
So let's talk about how you guys ended up meeting in the middle somehow, obviously.
Meeting in the middle.
You're meeting in the middle, yeah, right?
So I had always wanted to do a really good blueberry wine, which is actually why it's kind of interesting you ladies are drinking blueberries. But I always wanted to do a really good blueberry wine. So we are near the Finger Lake region in New York.
Oh, God, that's gorgeous up there.
Yeah, yes. They have great wines, and blueberry is one that stands out to me. And so I wanted to try to replicate that at home, and I kept trying to do it many a times, and had problems with fermentation, adding white sugar, all that, and I wasn't getting anything that I really liked until I reread my book again. It was about country wines, and it said you could sub in honey for your sugar if you wanted to. And I thought that was really interesting. So I tried honey. It literally changed the process. It settled everything down. It didn't seem as volatile as it was with white sugar. I wasn't popping bottles nearly as many times as I was before. Product, and that whole point was the end product was just so much better than with white sugar. I just loved it so much more that I just started adding honey going forward, and then found out, oh my God, it's really legit. Mead's a thing. We were starting to look for mead on shelves and liquor stores, and couldn't find anything until we found one that was a hopped. I think it was like 15% alcohol, hopped mead.
Yeah, it was a standard or more than standard
Yeah.
strength. Yeah.
Oh, 15%. Yeah, that's pretty heavy duty.
Yeah. But I want to say it was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think it was from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
But very well done. We very much enjoyed it. It brought in the hops, it brought in the honey. And so that's when we started a product that kind of crosses over with beer and wine, and got into our session style meads.
Well, yeah, and then, like, she started wanted to make more. And I mean, the meads were great. Kind of like I wrote to you guys, they were great, but they were 15%. I mean, I had to drink them like 2 fingers of bourbon on a glass. Like, they were great, but I could only drink of it. And then they took a while, and then but then she started making like, I want to open a meter, I want to sell this, and I'm like, well, they take forever and all that. But then she started making 9 and 10% ones, and I'm like, well, these are really good. These can turn around quicker. And then, of course, like everybody who homebrewed, I wanted to open a brewery, but none of my friends would really pull the trigger. This is like 2012, 2013, and finally, I was just like, well, if you want to do this, why can't we? Why can't we merge the two disciplines and just start making something that it's not going to taste like beer, and it shouldn't taste like beer, but it shouldn't be. It could fall in the same circles basically, and attract the same people to drink it. That's kind of
You need to take a look at some of what Sergio's done with beer style meads. We actually had him on talking about that last year, I think it was, or the year before.
Yeah, Sergio's he's a great leader in the field.
Yes, he is.
It was. Yeah.
So when you're adding hops to your mead, what kind of process are you utilizing there? Are you doing anything similar to a boil for beer to add bitterness, or are you doing all late hop additions? What are you doing?
Yeah, mostly at this point, like dry hopping, basically getting it fermented, getting it clear, and then adding it the same way you would do like a West Coast IPA. We used to add some during. I'll try to get like the biotransformation. Whether that's a thing or not, that's always debatable, right? But
it is a thing, yes.
But it's we were trying that, and then in the end just liked it better late stage. I've had meads where people try to mimic a boil. I've just never really enjoyed that bitterness. It's almost like to me I don't know what to call it, but like a fake bitterness. I've never found it to work well. I mean, I'm sure it does for some people, and some people like drinking it, but we thought that just the people who are even afraid of hops, if you have people drinking your mead, a lot of times they don't like beer, or they don't like a bitterness of hops. And in this way, you're just getting that aromatic, you're just getting that flavor. And for us, we found to be just a better approach.
Compliment to the honey.
Right.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who found that, because I did a whole beer exploration journey trying to figure out what I did and didn't like in beers. Turns out I don't mind bitterness from the roast, but I don't like bitterness from the hops.
Yes.
And so when I went to try making my own beers, I only dry hop. I put the hops in at flame out, and that's it.
Well, we also like hops because yes, they bring the aromatics, but like when you carbonate a mead, it brings out the aromatics of the honey, and then you've got the aromatics of the hops, and they just play so nicely together. It's just a nice little bouquet that you get off the mead with carbonation.
Yeah, it improves the drinkability a lot because as you guys know, or people who listen to this know, sometimes just getting people to try a mead is the most difficult thing. They've made up their mind already; they don't like it, and if they don't like hops, well, now you're really behind the 8 ball. Yeah. So if you can, if you can find a way, we always say we're like no, like Trish especially does not like IPAs. Like, I mean, I have really good IPAs in the fridge, and they are.
I'm with you, Trish.
Yeah.
He can have all the IPAs, can't stand the things, and this obsession with IPAs is insane.
Yes.
That's just your opinion, Vicky.
Yes,
it makes my tongue taste bad.
And a very strongly held one, I might add. Yes, it is.
They make
I
your
like
tongue taste
IPAs,
bad. I
and
understand.
I like hops in mead.
Me too.
I love hopped meads, but
But
I
I
get these
also
IPAs,
agree with the approach.
you know.
I think using hops for bittering in the mead is kind of pointless, to be honest, at least in my view. I do like late addition or dry hopping. It adds some nice elements. Of course, the other thing you got to watch out for is a little bit of hop creep. So you can get some really, really foamy mead by adding hops. Something to watch out for. But yeah, I think it's great. I don't know why more places aren't doing it, because there's such a wide range of hop profiles available now that you can do almost anything you want. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we don't even use them all the time as like a hop forward mead. We use them when it's just something to nuance, like
a hop adjunct. Yeah.
Yeah, you're looking
Yep,
for like
absolutely.
a lemony flavor. Well, there's more things you can use than
There you
just
go.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So, Tricia, you started just sort of accidentally putting honey in to get better flavored, yada yada. Not really real. It sounds like you were like not really realizing mead as much as I want my wine to taste more like what I want my wine to taste like.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Okay, so once you realized that this was a thing, then what happened? I mean, did you like go out and immediately try to learn everything you could about mead, or what happened? Or did you just go off and start exploring?
Oh, definitely. There's definitely a research and development aspect of it. There was also like, let's see what's on the shelf and what's available. Yeah, it kind of did get us going down a whole lot of research and looking into things. And at the same time, we were also starting to get into beekeeping too.
Oh,
So we were
okay.
beekeepers at the time, and they gave us a lot of really interesting resources too. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah, we did it backwards. We
Yeah,
were
we did do
were
it backwards.
mead makers who became beekeepers. Usually,
Yeah.
it's the other way.
Hey, no,
Wine-
hey, I'm right there with you. I just started beekeeping this year, and
Yeah, I'm a 4-year beekeeper. I've been for 4 years, and
Kevin's a beekeeper.
yep.
Nice.
And I did it backwards too.
Yeah, same. So you're not alone.
Maybe it's the right way.
Try to have one hobby that supports the other.
Yeah, you have a
Right.
reason to get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll definitely appreciate it more, right? Like
Yeah.
because when we first got in this, we tried to be like our own apiary, and then we realized really quickly that is a horrible idea. And you can
That's a lot of work.
yeah, you can run a meadery or run an apiary. Those are separate.
Yeah, you can't.
You're
do
so
both,
lucky
yeah.
you're not in Ontario.
Oh, yeah.
You have to have an
Yeah.
apiary to run a meadery in Ontario.
Or you have to have a beekeeper who's willing to bequeath you X number of hives worth of product.
Yeah.
Right.
We met a gentleman down in
Baltimore.
Yeah, well, he's from
St.
St.
Catharines
Catharines.
up here.
Oh yeah.
And very nice guy. He told us all about your laws.
Yes.
Probably was grousing all about the laws if it's
Yeah. He was how would I say, honest but
firm.
Definitely polite.
Yes, yeah.
Not quite strident, but definitely concerned.
Yes. That'll do it.
At least he wasn't screaming. That could be worse, right?
Nobody had thin hair.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no kidding. Oh, that's funny. So you just dove in with both feet. So how long were you messing about with mead before you actually took the dive and went pro?
I went pro, so we started in 2004 is when we are commercially licensed in 16.
Yep.
Okay.
But there was a good process of a few years where I'd brewed beer, but I'd never made mead before, right? So I mean, I was like, okay, show me what you do here. I mean, I've been down in the in our basement in our brewing area together, but I've never actually done any of this. And then so we
never paid attention.
We had a lot. Yeah.
Like, what does he know? I do all that.
Steaming pots of worts, you know.
You can turn your back on mead and it won't blow up on you.
Yeah, no boilovers. It's great.
No boilovers, yeah.
Which I never did until I was commercial brewer.
Oh, that's so funny.
as soon as we got our brew system, and I boiled over like immediately. But,
Oh my God.
yeah, then we started taking, I mean, I had so many growlers, like, or 1 gallon jugs down there. And we were just okay, let's take this honey, let's try this yeast, let's try this yeast, let's try this one, let's try this hop. We did a lot of R&D, just kind of getting some recipes nailed down, or at least just for me, just getting more of a sense of how to make this. Because I always tell people, ask me all the time, like, oh, well, mead's pretty simple, right? I'm like, making mead is simple, sure. Making good mead is very difficult. So, it took me a while to get the hang of it, for sure.
And we did every opportunity, 4th of July parties,
Oh, yeah,
graduation parties, Super Bowl parties,
yeah,
to try and engage in a focus group.
Here, taste this.
Yes.
Yeah, you become a mead evangelist when that happens. That's what mead is like. Everywhere I go, I take mead with me. Which mead I take depends on who I'm going to be meeting up with. So if it's like my relatives, I take the easy drinkers, because they just don't, I mean, these are people that drink Budweiser and, bottled no name wine, and they're happy with that. And that's fine. That's their life, and it's like, but I'm pickier than that. And, so my aunt and uncle, who live down the road, and we go down there about once a week, and we play Mexican Train. And if you haven't played Mexican Train, look it up. It's an addictive game, like totally addictive. But we play Mexican Train, and I always take a bottle with me, and then they get to try it. And I usually end up leaving it there, and then like 6 weeks later, because they drink it little bitty sips at a time. They'll call me up and go, "You got any more of that?"
Nice.
Yeah, so it's pretty funny, but yeah, I mean, like, I went to I took like some kind of unicornish meads to the festival this weekend. So I took a bottle of Murder of Crows, one of Sergio's, and it's a beautiful off-dry mead that's just stunning, and like everything Sergio made. And I took some Texas mead because it's harder to come by, up north. And bottle of my stuff, because you don't get it unless you get it from me. And, so it was just a bunch of unusual things, because these people have had all that. Plus they've been drinking, 20 some odd meads all day on Saturday.
Right.
The after party was lit, let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm basically a mead evangelist. I take mead with me. I got all of the mead that I've got so that I can share it. I mean, half the fun is taking and cracking a bottle of something that half my friends have never had, and them going, "Oh my God, I didn't even know this was out there."
Looking at their faces when they have their first sip.
Oh, isn't it? It's just the best thing. Just the best. And this is other people's mead mostly that I'm doing this with, but I love being able to get out there and, let people see the other things.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do that. That's basically what we do. I mean, all we do is like educating people, like getting people to try it. Even we've seen it's definitely grown, since we opened the tap room in 2017, and like we've done a lot of outreach and a lot of festivals, things like that. And in the beginning, nobody knew what it was. I mean, just nobody. Or we always say we're fighting your college roommate who made it in his closet in his dorm.
Oh God.
Like I'm sure you have, but have you had our meat, all that. Now I just do see it, like, and that's because of that. You have to have people doing that. Like, we do see people like, oh, I've had meat, or I've had this, or I've had your.
I didn't like it, and
So,
I just look at them and go, so do you drink one beer and say, I don't like all beer when there's like 20 million things? Do you drink one glass of wine, say, I don't like all wines when there's, 10,000 different varieties?
Absolutely.
We see this like weekly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drives me nuts, because it's like, meat is not like a monolith, okay? This is like, hey, meat,
I always use the example, like, it's not like Pepsi. I mean, it's not one thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God it's not like Pepsi. I hate that. It's nasty.
But yeah, it's definitely that part is it's also challenging when you're trying to sell it to people, but it's like every time you have to correct someone, their 25% chance just went down that you're actually going to sell anything to them, or just getting them to sell it. But for me, I always, when you say it's like, if you just drink one beer, one wine, I'll even say, like, did you like beer the first time you tried it? I'm like, nobody did. I don't know a single person that enjoyed, like,
didn't, hated it, thought it was gross. Yeah.
Right. I mean, so just, and so sometimes they'll say it's an acquired taste. Like, everything's an acquired taste. Like, give it, and it's definitely a tough balance. But I think the more you do it, and then you get those times where people are just blown away. That's the part that makes it, validating in general.
Yeah.
Just
Oh yeah. That is so rewarding when they go, "Oh my God, I had no idea."
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Wait, you mean it's not all sicky sweet?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Is grape wine all sicky sweet? Well,
Yeah.
no.
Right.
Do you know how much sugar they put in that? Well, no.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to get geeky on them every once in a while and tell them, they're like, well, I like beer better. Like, what do you, and then they'll of course say, like, I like New England IPAs. I'm like, trust me, there's way less sugar in this left over than your New England IPA.
Uh-huh.
But I tell you, it's always
And
tricky.
by the way, try our hopped mead. You'll love it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love a good hop mead. I mean, there's so much you can do with that. And beer style. I mean, I tried every one that Sergio had available when I was able to get them, and they were all great. And I'm not, say I don't like IPAs, but I will try anything once. Don't have to like it, but you got to try it. That was the rule,
Yeah, like beet mead.
Yeah, which I hate beets, and not only did I get a beet stuck in my hamburger in Australia, but I ended up judging a beet mead and liked both times. So I'm actually going to try getting some pickled beets or making some pickled beets and trying them on my hamburgers now. So
we
grate the beet into your hamburger. It's awesome. Just a raw beet grated into the hamburger meat when you're making your patties. It's amazing.
Okay, I'll try it.
We did do a beet mead.
We totally did.
You did? Was it electric pink when you got done?
It was pretty bright, yes. But it was meant to be like a pickled beet mead, and it turned out really well. And people did come back for it.
Did, yeah.
Okay. Those weird-a-mills like that tend to be I had the phrase that I came up with ages and ages ago because we didn't have a category for that stuff. So, but the weird-a-mills can do well. Case in point, John Oppegard at Oppegard Meadery in Washington. He made a taco mead.
Taco mead.
Tasted like a taco. And I mean, it was a love or hate mead. People either loved it or despised it. There was no in between. There was no middle ground on this mead, and he could not bottle it fast enough.
Novelty meads will sell.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a smaller meadery, you shouldn't have any trouble getting rid of them if you need to. But sometimes they really work. I brought a mead that was sent to me by the folks at Fox and Raven. We had them on the show about 4 months ago. They're down in Texas, and it was a pickle mead. And it was, I mean,
you go, I don't know. When you see
the name of the mead, it's now released commercially. It wasn't released commercially at the time. It's called Am I Then a Monster, I believe is the name of it. So you can look for it if you're interested.
Am I then a monster?
Yeah, Am I Then a Monster, which obviously is taking a look at the fact that it's a pickle mead. But reading through the ingredients, I thought, I don't know if this is going to work. But it was surprisingly good. Yeah. And kudos to them because it really did work. And on a warm, sticky summer day, I could definitely drink a couple of those. It surprised me. And I love those kind of surprises. When stuff works, it really works.
It's wonderful when you get something you think is not going to be good for you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like
go
me
in with an
peppercorn.
open mind. That's important, right? Don't just turn your nose away on it.
No. I learned that the hard way. You miss out on good stuff that way.
Yep. Give it a go.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember one time at one of the Mazer Cup functions or MeadCon functions, I can't remember which. I was taking like thimble-sized samples so that I could remain not inebriated. And I took no more than one sample from anything except for that one that Billy made that I think was cherries and black pepper. I hate black pepper. I loathe black pepper. I don't want it anywhere near anything I eat with one or two exceptions. But oh my God, was that ever good? I went back 5 times for that one.
Oh yeah. Well, and that was Sergio took Murder of Crows, which is an off-dry dark berry mead. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's such an easy drinker, and it's just a lovely, lovely mead. And then did kind of a riff on it, called it Midnight Jack, because he added black pepper to it, cracked black peppercorns. And I fell in love with it. I mean, I like Murder of Crows. I adored Midnight Jack. You know, it was really, really good. I think I'm down to like 2 bottles of it, and I go look at it and I twiddle my thumbs and go, nope, not yet. Once they're gone, unless I can cadge more out of Bobby or Sergio's stash, you know. So.
Yeah, it's fun when stuff works.
It is.
I keep going back to the one that Dan McNevin made.
Oh, that root vegetable mead? Yeah, that was good. That was really good. I was not expecting it to be good, but it was.
Right. It was like shockingly good.
Yeah, shockingly good. So if you guys, okay, so what's the weirdest thing aside from what you've already done, the beet mead with, you know, what's the weirdest thing you worked with so far?
What do you think? Sweet potato?
You can mention
okay.
So we do a series in the fall called Over the River and Through the Woods. And
I love it.
Over the River is cranberry and sage. It's done with a Belgian yeast. It's really it's semi-dry. It's one of probably my favorite.
That is interesting.
Through the Woods is one Trish did. It's sweet potato. It's got some Bochet honey in it, and then some spice. Allspice, cinnamon, and it's really, I mean, it's kind of meant to be our take on like our Thanksgiving. Like I love
like a sweet potato casserole.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, because I lived in the South for 30 years. That's a staple at Thanksgiving. So what kind of honey are you doing that with?
So we use we do use Boucher honey in that one.
Okay. So you're getting the caramel flavors then.
Yes. That marshmallowy flavor.
15 or 20%.
Yeah. You should get some meadow foam and Boucher that, and then you get caramel big marshmallow.
I don't know if I Boucher meadow foam.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know, right? It's kind of like, I don't know. But you know, I mean, still, you could do a mix of honeys too, and do it half meadow foam and half Boucher, and then you got best of both worlds.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's one that definitely people have looked at like sweet potato, and we're like, it does not, just try it. Like, and people generally enjoy it.
I think it brings a certain like mouthfeel to the mead. Like it kind of bulks up the body of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's something we really try to do. I mean, we make all of our sessions are 5%, right? And then we try to really, it's tough, or I shouldn't say it's tough. It's easy for those to be light bodied. We try to make sure that they have some substantial body to them, so they're not just too watery, or nothing makes my skin crawl more than people go, oh, it's like seltzer. I'm like, oh God, don't say that.
Oh God, yeah, please don't tell me that.
Yeah, please don't. You can keep that to yourself.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with seltzer, but that's not where we were going with this.
Exactly. Its own thing. But that was definitely one that is.
Well, there was a little bit of ridicule.
We might have got a little ridicule on that one, and some vindication when it sold really well.
Yeah.
I gotta love it. Like neener, we were right. You were not.
The other one that we get a lot is, I don't know if it's I wouldn't say weird ingredient, but we have one called Crystal Blue Meth, and Metheglin. Sorry, yes, it is on the label.
Blue meth.
Yeah, and that one was
that'll get you a visit for the TTV.
Oh,
the state liquor authority wouldn't let us call it Crystal Blue Meth at first, because they said we were being dishonest with our product.
Yeah. Falsely
misleading. Like, oh, sorry, we're not making good meth.
Did you come back with, so if I actually put methamphetamines in there, that would be
right.
I didn't think methamphetamines were GRAS, but okay.
Yeah. Right. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. I'd have so much trouble not being a smartass if they said that.
Yeah. We struggle with that.
We struggle with it too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the craziest ingredients, but it's very sweet. I mean, it starts and finishes at the same gravity. Think about that. And then it's because there's so much back sweetening that happens with it. But it's blueberry, blackberry, lemon, and rosemary, and not just that combination.
Oh,
we basically we were making, when we first started, we were making that blueberry melomel, and we used a dark honey. It was a little too dark. We didn't like it. We were like, we can't do this. So Trish came up with this soda of those other flavors, and of a lemon rosemary soda to go with the blueberry and blackberry that are already in the other melomel. And she made it. I tried it, and I said, "This is the worst thing I've ever had. It's terrible. This is awful. No one's not selling this." And it was our #1 seller instantly.
Oh my gosh!
Like, oh no, we're putting it on tap.
I was so completely wrong in that. But it's the rosemary part is I've won the. I think people get thrown by because it's one like coconut. You like it or you don't. I do not know anyone who thinks rosemary is okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But it that one, I think people just see it and they get kind of like, and the name itself throws people. But then I don't know. I think it works in the end, and it kind of gets people. And once you realize you're drinking something with all that in there, well, then also like a sweet potato means not that weird, is it? You know.
I think I used sweet potato as a sort of flavor booster in one of my pumpkin meads once upon a time.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I could see that.
Although I think I tried to use the purple ones to see if I could get any fun color in it.
I'm trying to think of what other weird ones. We've made a bunch of different meats. I don't think anything too outlandish and crazy other than that, but not that I can remember. And even with anything we do, like if you're making any kind of like we say weird ML, our biggest thing is that it still has to be good, right? Like if we've had we judge a homebrew competition here with meads and we've had some where you're just like one was like cotton candy grapes and we were like, yeah, no.
Oh yeah, there's been some amazing meads made with those cotton candy grapes.
Right, I've had wine with it. It's interesting.
Yeah. They can be good. It's just this one wasn't. It wasn't balanced. It just wasn't. It just sugary and it just had no. So we just try to make sure no matter what we're doing, we keep it something that's palatable, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in your pickled beet mead. Did you use spices with that one too?
Yes, like pickling spices.
Yeah. We call
it regular pickling beet spices or like the sweet pickling?
The sweet pickling.
Okay, cool. Now I'm tempted to try that.
Now she's over here. Now she's over here taking notes.
Of course I am.
That's so funny.
Yeah. We like to call it drink our vegetable series.
Okay. What other vegetable meads are you doing since it's a series?
Yeah, I think that's as far as we got.
Yeah, that's as far as we got.
Oh, okay. You've named it, but you haven't added to it yet. I gotcha.
It's gonna be like the Star Wars prequels. We'll get to it in 20 years.
We have lots of
when our kids are going to college, That's so funny.
There might be a carrot one coming up.
I keep wanting to do a parsnip one.
Ooh.
Because parsnip has a lot more interesting flavor than carrot, I find.
I do it with
really like my family always does candied parsnips, the way you do like candied sweet potatoes or whatever, and I find they have a lot more flavor to hold up to that than carrots do.
Interesting.
You can hear she's over there taking notes just like you do, AJ. It's interesting. I'm writing that one down. Yeah.
I got 2 40-pound boxes of carrot puree sitting in the cooler that need to get used at some point.
I love the idea of the sweet potato casserole one because that is just, I love sweet potato casserole and it's just a fun thing because you got so many flavors going on in there,
Yeah.
And it stays drinkable. That's the best part. Like it's still like it's not something. It's not what what I'd call like a festival drink where it's like you have 1 ounce and you're like, yeah, I'm good. It's something. Yeah, you really have a glass.
We were doing like 4-ounce pours all day Saturday. So. I'm doing like a 2-ounce pour. Corey comes over and goes, fill it up to here. Okay. Not gonna argue with it. It's your meat, dude. Yeah, I'm just here to pour. Yeah, so I wasn't being generous enough, apparently. The Malort mead was popular, I can tell you that. Apparently, well, we're only an hour and a half from Chicago there, and that's a Chicago thing, so I think that's part of it. But
and curiosity.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of people that were kind of on the Malort try thing. My friend's brother's cousin's sister told me I had to try this stuff.
Exactly.
So that's got Malort in it? All right, give me some of that. It was pretty interesting. So you guys were the first meadery in Erie County, and you're not real far. You're what, half hour from Buffalo?
Yeah, like 20 minutes maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. We're the first one in Erie County being, of course, I realize we say that like everyone knows what that means. But yeah, the biggest county in Western New York where Buffalo is and all the main, population of the area.
Right.
There was another meadery in Medina called 810 Mead Works. They were,
I remember 810. I have had some of their meads. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. He just stopped making mead recently, but
so
he was about an hour, like closer to Rochester, like farther away from us. But yeah, we can say we're the first one in the county, and we've just grown from there. We really
that's cool.
Started with our tap room and now do a lot more packaging and distribution. Not with a distributor, we're self distributed, but we have people that help get the product out across the state wherever we can.
Okay, very cool. Are you you guys on Vino Shipper too?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys heard it.
We would have sent you guys mead. I realized yesterday we hadn't done that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that going, I probably should have mentioned something. Yeah, well, whatever.
Oh, well, too late. No big deal.
Yeah.
Fine,
we don't have mead to drink.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I love getting to try the meads, that I haven't had yet, of course. But like he says, we've got mead to drink. I mean, my God, I could drink I could drink a bottle every single night for the next 2 years and not run out.
Yeah.
You'd be dead before then.
Oh God, yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
And the sugar overdose would kill me.
So actually, for your session meads, are they kind of in the semi-sweet range, off dry? Where do you tend to land for those?
Kind of all over the place.
Yeah,
it really depends on it. I mean, we have some that are that we don't do anything completely like bone dry. I found always you need at least a little back sweetening just to give them the body and kind of round out the flavor. At least in our experience, to smooth it out. Yeah, but like we have one we do with Kvike, and it's just straight. There's nothing else added to it. And that one, I don't know. I think we back sweeten it to like 1005 or 1006 or something. So it's pretty dry in that sense. Or then you have Crystal Blue Meth, which finishes at 1040. So. And we kind of go all over the place. We try not to really pigeonhole ourselves in any one, like, oh, we're a sweet meadery or we're a dry meadery. But we have definitely found sweeter does tend to sell better, but not always.
Right.
Okay.
Very nice. Yeah.
Offerings, are they typically carbonated?
The sessions, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, all the sessions are, yeah.
Yeah.
But you have other things in the tap room that you sell that are not sessions, right?
So yeah.
Still.
Yep. Yeah. We do. We don't do a ton of traditional. We have one traditional we call vintage. It's just, and we use honey wise. We're a New York State farm meadery, so we have to use New York honey as per our license. We always did anyways. We're actually more hyper local. We stick to Western New York in general, just to kind of go on the idea of like terroir, and like this is the honey in this area. This is what honey from our area tastes like, and the mead tastes like from our area. Just works. That's just our philosophy on it. So we have our vintage with a it's 10% with, I think, say semi-sweet traditional. We do lots of melomels. We have a blueberry, a raspberry. We have one in the tank right now, which is honey. It's called Happy. So I have to do the acronym to remember what's in it. Honey, obviously, the first one. Apricot, pear, and pineapple, and the Y for yeast.
Oh, nice. And a what yeast?
The Y, just the acronym. Yeah.
Okay.
Just so we don't forget to put the yeast in.
Yeah. It ferment a lot slower then.
It's just a fruit salad.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're just throwing this all together. Let's just do this.
And then our Bochet series, which we talked about earlier too. Yeah. So we definitely we specialize in sessions, but we absolutely have standard strength things too.
But going on the honey side of things, we focus on the seasonality of the honey. So we focus on like a spring honey, a summer honey, and a fall honey. And obviously generally a wildflower honey. And some of those local mono sources that we can get, like Japanese knotweed is one you'll see that we use.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I don't know. I think it's all over the Eastern Seaboard.
Right, but
it's invasive up there?
It's a big invasive, yeah.
Yes,
but it produces good honey. So
It does.
It's
Yeah.
amazing to me,
Yeah, we love it that it's like a brown sugar character, and then we use it in something like a sizer. We just think it looks great in that.
Oh, nice.
So with your farm license, do you have to have 100% honey from New York, or can you supplement with other things?
Well, 100% of your fermentable, I believe, honey. Yeah.
So
but,
you
can't use any
with?
other honey then.
we don't. Yeah, we have to use 100% New York to ferment. Yeah.
Although I suppose technically, then if it's fermentable, you could back sweeten with something else, right?
Well, yeah, I think there's that loophole there. We haven't explored it yet, but yeah, I believe we could.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but it's nice for that way because then we have, like, say, there's farm breweries in New York. You have to use 60% grain and hops from New York. That can be tricky. Honey is great because we always did it anyways, but then we're not limited in any way on the hop varieties that we can use or
the fruits,
like that.
Which is really key.
Yep.
Because you definitely need citrus and stuff for them.
For sure.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite hops?
I do. I love Mosaic. I just think Mosaic, and then this is controversial among beer brewers. I really like Centennial. I know some people hate Centennial, but
Centennial's awesome.
I love Centennial. Some people hate them. I don't get it. Like, I think it's a great hop. It just reminds me of like a orange zest, like an orange zest from orange. I love it. But I think Mosaic is it's such an interesting hop to me. So versatile. I know it's not like wow, Mosaic, that's like the craziest hop ever, but Citra,
for a while it was.
Right, yeah. And we use Citra as well. And we just call them what most people do, like cheater hops, right? I mean, everything's going to be good if you put Citra Mosaic in it. But,
yeah.
I think the first one I tried using was Saz because it's not that bitter, and Fuggles I absolutely adore the smell of.
We've used both of those in meads as well. Because they're great that way. Not too high impact, but they absolutely add a nice
Nectaron.
Nectaron was a great one too that we used.
Nectaron, that's an Australian?
Australian or New Zealand, I don't remember, but yeah, from that the world.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I actually meant New Zealand. Yeah, I don't know that I've used that one. I think I've smelled it, but that's it. I haven't used that one myself.
So yeah, I think that gets to the creative part about mead and how wonderful and how different you can make them. Like, you can have like 13 meaderies around you, but everybody can do their own little thing and still be very different from each other. And I think that's what makes mead amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You can get 5 people making the same mead.
Yeah, absolutely. That too.
Yeah. And it's different for everybody. That's why if you ask Tom Reppes for a recipe, he'll go, I just put flavors together.
I'd be guilty of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's honestly the way I do it too. I don't go into it with a recipe. I go into it with an idea, and then I futz around and take good notes. So when I come out of it, then I've got a recipe,
That's the difference between science and just effing around and finding out is taking notes.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of liked the effing around and finding out part. It makes it more fun,
But as long as you take notes, it's science.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many times I've had people go, "Well, no, I didn't." And I was like, "Well, how do I duplicate this?" I mean, seriously.
Making mead's not that difficult, but making consistently good mead is.
And when you're a pro, then that becomes a real thing.
Yes. Yeah, I've certainly been guilty of that in the past. We start with a recipe, and then like, what did you add? Oh,
I don't know.
Right. And then 2 days later, what did you add? I think
crap.
Something. I don't remember.
I've gotten much better. For the record. In case our former assistant Christian's listening, I've gotten better, I promise.
I just treat it like lab. I always have a lab book. I do the same thing for mead. I do the same thing for soap making. Keep track of what you did.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I'm much more regimented now. I even have clipboards.
Ooh. I need to do that for the bees, though.
Fancy.
Yeah.
Clipboards tied to fermenters. Yes, that way I can't forget to do it.
Yeah.
We take a chalkboard out to the bee yard to remind us what to do with which hive.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Problem is we never write it down, so we forget what the heck we did where.
I have my little Write in the Rain beehive log, so I write down like all my observations. Got places to put everything. If you split a hive or if you capture a swarm or whatever, it's all on there, and you just got to fill in the little blanks. And and figure out what to do. I had it out at my last B class, and everybody's like, "Where'd you get that?" "Oh, Amazon. Where do I get everything?" I just say the Amazon guy's like, "Really? Seriously? I've been out here like 4 times this week already." Well, I live in a rural area. There's a lot of stuff I can't get, so it's like, well, shit, they don't have that in stock. Let me get some of this. I can get it online.
Absolutely.
Yeah, hold your nose and order it from Amazon.
My subscription list with Amazon is stupid. I mean, there's just too much stuff on there, but it's the only way to get a lot of that stuff. So,
Yeah.
Now, where you guys are okay. You're 30 minutes from Buffalo, so you've actually got a pretty big base there to work with. It's pretty heavy. I'm assuming that Lancaster is sort of like an exurb at 20 miles out.
Yeah, it's we're right in the middle of there's the village and the town of Lancaster. The village is smaller, but it's been, when we first opened up there was barely anything. Now there's like a renaissance of development happening and things.
Nice.
So we have a nice business center around us now. And then in the town you have, I don't know, probably 25,000 people or something like that. So and then we have like little suburbs around us. So it's not too, it's not rural quite. It's not far from rural, but it's definitely, we have the throughway, things like that, malls, all that stuff. Yeah, we're not too far removed.
Okay. Well, that's cool then. That gives you a good crowd to work with, and being that you're the only meadery for miles around.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of meaderies in the Buffalo area now.
Oh, okay.
There's we were the first in the county, but now there's, I mean, ones with tap rooms, 5, I think.
Nice.
And then some more, I'm sure other ones in planning. Oh no, is it more than that now? There's when you think about it, because some places, like I've heard you guys interview people where they're the only meadery in the country, and some of them. So we have a decent amount of them around.
New York is picking up speed as a state. I went up to the Finger Lakes Mead Conference. Oh God, 2018, 2019, something like that. And there was at the time 5 or maybe 6 meaderies in the entire state.
Wow.
And it's up something like 20 something now, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was several people there that were wanting to open a meadery. They hadn't opened one yet, but it was fascinating, because New York really jumped on the bandwagon to make it easier for meaderies to open. Not every state does that. Sergio, he had to go to the state legislator and lobby, to be able to open his place, because they were like, well, I don't, you're making this honey with honey. No, you're on a winery, you're not a brewery. Sorry, sucks to be you, and Jersey wasn't into it. So he basically forced the issue.
Yeah. And you have to sometimes like that.
Oh yeah.
Well, Greg from Royal was a good proponent too. For getting it going.
So yeah, he was, and they're not going anymore, but they were a very big part of the farm bills, right? So like for us in, what was it, 2019?
Which meadery was that?
A Royal meadery, right?
Yeah, Royal closed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, like that, he was a big proponent of the farm bill, and that was huge for us because we actually have emissions. I mean, so many, like obviously you guys know federally, there's no such thing, and in the state, it's great that it basically gave us all the rights of a farm brewery, so we can open 5 what they call branch locations, and every single one of them has the same rights to restaurant, production, serving of your alcohol. We can sell in stores like any supermarket, beer store, anything like that. We are not relegated to liquor stores, which is a huge thing for us.
That is huge. Yeah. Now, are you guys getting your stuff into like bars and restaurants? Can you do that there?
We can, yeah. I mean, we don't do a ton of it. Most of the focus is on our own tap room, but we absolutely do put kegs out in cans to, especially bottle shops. People that know that. Those are our biggest customers for
tap
wholesale.
Space is pretty limited, but
tap space is tough.
Yeah, I would imagine.
The cans and bottles are appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
But we do find that it has to be a place that will can describe your stuff
Yeah.
to the consumer, because it can't just sit on a shelf. It's got to be engaged in some way.
Right. Yeah, like meat on a shelf that can't talk about itself. It's just
Mm-hmm.
people like we. There's a brewery up here, Rusty Nickel, that we work really closely with, and it's where we package all our product with them, and they always have our meats on there, and they do a good job at explaining it with people, and that because of that, that's a huge thing. Or any of the bottle shops, the same thing. You have that one-on-one customer interaction, which is what we require. I mean, that's just getting people walk in and they're so like overwhelmed sometimes. And I was just saying, like, it's just booze, guys. It's just a different type of, like, it's fine. Don't be overwhelmed by it. We'll walk you through it. But yeah, because it's different, people get I don't know, just nervous about it. So yeah, we try to make sure our product goes into those places that can provide that same education like we do.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. You poured some of my Chamerlot?
I did. It's lovely.
I'll have to send you another bottle next time we mule stuff up there.
Yeah, just don't send it UPS. They're fucking assholes.
Oh, yeah, I know. Oh,
But it's a Canadian company.
UPS is a Canadian company? I didn't know
No,
that.
Yeah.
Purelator is.
No, UPS is.
Yeah, well, they like to really screw you over. Yeah, no, just don't. UPS Canada and UPS States don't talk to each other.
Oh, really?
And if they send something across the border, they will ding you for a fee, whether there was duty on it or not.
Well, FedEx,
and it apparently is quite random. Just
something
yeah.
else, I suppose. Yeah.
Yep, FedEx. At least they don't jerk you around with that, and they make you sign for it as opposed to dropping it on your doorstep so that you think you're not getting charged for it, and then they mail you a fee. Ask me how I know.
Oh, dear. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, here, if you have to sign for, well, alcohol you have to sign for, but you don't ever get a fee after the fact, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, this was a promotional CD, and because I have to deal with it twice because the person who sent it realized that it disappeared off the US tracking number because it had gone over the border, and now I could see it because apparently the two systems don't talk to each other, so he sent it again. So yeah, because he assumed because they couldn't find it that they'd lost it, rather than having them check the Canadian site because they're that stupid there too.
Jeez.
Yeah, don't use UPS. Bad plan.
Persons are great. People and groups suck. Persons individually, those are great.
Anything's great till it gets organized.
Yeah, right. So, you guys are doing primarily then like distribution, online sales, and that. What how much of your stuff ends up being in the tap room?
Most of it.
Yeah.
I have 90-95% of it. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's cool. Are you doing a lot of glass level sales, or is it more come get a spread and then buy some bottles?
Yeah, no, lots of glass. I mean, we really operate like a tap room, or it's really more of like the brewery model or tapper model. We do a lot of events, live music, karaoke.
Oh, okay, cool.
And stuff.
And you have food. I know. I've seen that on your website.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, it's just all those things over the years we've added that. We didn't used to do a lot of it, but then during COVID, it was, you had to have food, right? So we started, our whole thing was, if we're going to make you order food, we're at least going to give you something decent. And then we, from there, people just really started to like, oh no, I like your food. And then it really kind of took off from there. And so we expanded that a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work for you? Do you have like a full commercial kitchen, or are you doing, like some other alternative way of preparing food?
No, we have a commercial kitchen. I design it and oversee it, and then I have a prep cook, and then basically our bartenders also are trained in how to assemble and heat and serve.
Okay. Wow.
That's down in us in there working in the kitchen on busy nights.
Exactly.
I mean, you know, we're around a lot, and you know, you can find us behind the bar pulling taps. You can find us doing food. You can find us doing just about anything. So
very cool.
I've always go with the theory of if we ask our staff to do it, we'll do it too.
Yep.
And
Sure.
no job above us, no job below us. So
Right.
Well, I would just say in just about any meadery, the mead maker is also the guy who has to sweep the floors and push the
Chief
stuff
bottle
down.
washer.
Chief bottle washer. Yeah.
I'm pretty much just a janitor, anyways. It's all brewing.
Well, yeah,
Right?
that's how
Yeah.
it is. Yeah, it's the same
Totally.
thing.
So, but
Come on,
I'm pretty
cleaning and sanitizing are one of the biggest things, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a little curious about your foray into beekeeping. Your intent there is not necessarily to produce honey for your meadery, right? Because you said you gave up the idea of being an apiary.
Yeah, well, it was kind of
there's
taken.
a couple things.
It was taken from us in many ways.
There's a couple factors.
Well, we got to hear that story. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the first one. So we were doing really well with beekeeping. We had moved into a new house and had we've got 14 acres and had them set up right and everything. We were doing very well, and then we got into doing a removal.
Oh yeah.
And it was a hot August day because it's always a hot August day and you're all suited up. Well, I didn't put my boots on. I put my sneakers on instead, thinking they're up there. It won't be a problem. Until it became a problem. They crawled up and they got me in the back of the leg. And then I found out that I was allergic to bees.
Oh no.
Oh.
So
she got stung many times before that, but then she just started having allergic reactions to it.
Oh no.
But we didn't want to give up because I love the bees. But then in 2017, just as we were opening up the tasting room, we had the bees out by a creek that runs through our property, and the creek ended up flooding significantly, like the worst flood in like 50 years.
They called it like a once in 100-year flood. Like it was
100-year flood. Yep.
Oh yeah, we had 4 to 5 feet of water. Like we had current in our backyard.
Yes.
It was crazy.
Oh man.
It not only took the bees, but it took the chickens too.
Yes.
So,
oh dear.
I saved 4 of the 6. But then when
the
chickens, when their coop got lifted up by the water, and then I got lifted up by it too, I had to let them go.
I mean,
yeah.
It was moving cinder blocks. I mean, that's how bad the water was. But the bees ended up going downstream, and we had a neighbor about a mile down who discovered our bees in his backyard, all dilapidated and stuff. And we were going to build back from then, but at the time we were also building the meadery too, and it was just like
we're just gonna
we were at the fork in the road.
We could never get it back, and then we just realized this is not. We can't do this.
Yeah, I get that. You've only got so much time and so much energy.
Yes,
we had 9 or 10
and
really well, thriving hives. Like they were really doing well, but unfortunately,
and it's also a very specialized knowledge too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to learn.
Definitely.
Preaching to the choir.
But it made us appreciate all the hard work, all the sweat. Oh my God, all the backaches and everything that go into beekeeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it turns out I'm lucky. Like I'm allergic to freaking everything except bee stings.
Ooh, you are lucky.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, granted, I've only had 4, and I tape my suit up so that I will not get more. But yeah.
And now, even though we don't do beekeeping, we do have a friend of mine. They got a new pastor at his church, and he came up from Virginia, and he's a beekeeper. I didn't know where to put his bees. Now he keeps his bees here. So we have 6. We have 6 hives out there.
Oh, that's sweet.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, my parents actually had a beehive on the property before I got into bees because there's a local place that actually started with the removal. That's how they got into bees in the first place. That used to put bees on your property, and then you'd get half the honey, they'd get half the honey.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, and then they centralized everything, and the honey didn't taste the same.
Oh.
And then I thought, hey, Mom, want bees on the property again? She's like, hell yes. So I had bees the first year, and then she had so much fun helping me that she got bees the next year. So now we're partners.
Aw, that's great. It's a great mother-daughter thing.
Yeah. That is great. I'm sitting here looking at your website and thinking pierogi pizza.
Yeah, well, that was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that caught my eye right away.
Oh, no,
No, that's really cool. Yeah. So you guys are just doing some great stuff here from the looks of it. I mean, this is really, really good. Are you seeing that things are trending upward for you?
I'd say just in craft beverage in general, it's been a pretty tough year.
Yeah. There's been quite a lot of closures and whatnot. So
yeah, and even just talking, like, I always say as a meadery, you're either going to hang. Meaderies are kind of displaced, right? There's not a lot of them around each other. Even though we have a lot of meaderies here, we're all fairly separated. It's kind of tough to get a big, I don't know, gang together that way. And so we found ourselves hanging with the breweries a lot. And so in talking with them, I mean, really, in a sense, we all run the same places. We just make different stuff. And in talking to all of them, they're all seeing it too. Like even the really large experiential places are seeing, a pretty significant decline. Not like they're closing or anything, but it's just it's definitely tougher. You got to be more inventive, and you have to constantly be doing events and things like that to get people to come into your tap room itself.
Yeah, not only the amount on the ticket, but the number of tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah. And are you still doing like farmers markets, festivals, that kind of thing to just be in front of people, or
Definitely.
As much as we can?
Yeah. We have market wise, we've kind of been more selective, just the ones that are really high foot traffic. Just because I don't know if you've done markets, that they're a lot of work. So
Yeah.
But yeah, and then festivals for sure. Even those, like we see, there are not as many of them anymore, and the attendance at them is declining. But we still do at least like probably 4 or 5, 6 of them a year. And to us, we look at that as we're getting paid to advertise instead of paid.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting in front of people. I did that for Meadery in North Carolina. Was trying to break into. He was on the western side of the state, and he's trying to break into the eastern and central areas. And I live in the central area. And he's a friend of mine. He's like, "You want to go to the farmers market with this stuff? Meet me over in Greenville, and I'll load your truck up with cases." And I'm like, "Okay." I ended up coming home with a pickup truck load of mead that I had to put in my basement.
Oh.
Yeah, because I had to put it somewhere while I was, because the market's only like every week. And
oh, I see. So this was an ongoing thing for you.
Yeah. I'd go out there like every month and a half or so. He'd load the truck up with cases. I'd give him all the money, and for whatever I sold on the previous, and he was giving me like a little bit of money here and there, and I basically could drink all the meat I wanted, which was okay too. And yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I still have probably 10 bottles of his stuff, maybe. Yeah, but I mean, most of it's gone over the years. But he was just really cool because you got a front row seat to really see what people think and to hear what they had to say. And you guys may have run into this when they come in. They're like, I don't know. I mean, I would start them out with, because they're like, well, what is mead? Okay, well, mead is wine made with honey instead of grapes and sugar. So honey is your main, sugar in a mead. Oh, well, that means it's really sweet then. Not necessarily. Just like a wine, if you've had a Merlot, you know how dry those are. Okay, mead can be every bit as dry as that. Really? They're like, yeah, so what do you like? And God love them. This was the South. And they're like, well, I like red. I like white. I'm like, okay, so is there a particular one that you like, or style that you like? Is it Merlots? Are you into Chambersons? Do you like cabs? What did you think? I was just red. And it's dry. Yeah, okay, that's cool. So I'd line them up, from dry to sweet. And this guy had 6 meads, and one was dry, and it was a fortified dry, and with buckwheat. So big, huge mead. And then then there was a semi-dry, and then there was 2 semi-sweets and 3 sweets.
He walked out with a sweet, didn't he?
Yeah, every time. Every time. I like dry, and they'd walk away with the sweet. He had an apricot one that was just to die for. It was really good. And every time they'd walk away with that, and everybody liked the spice mead. Christmas spice mead is sort of mostly universally popular. And so it just cracked me up though how many people. I'd be like, they walk away with their like 4 bottles of sweet mead after telling me that Merlot was their thing in their wine, and I'm just giggling. It's like, okay, enjoy.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also possible to like some sweet stuff and some dry stuff. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
I don't mind a dry beer, but I prefer most of my meads sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it all depends on balance, of course, and
individual
cases. But
if you're not a connoisseur or a wine nut or whatever, beer nut, whatever, you don't really know. You just know what you like. Because you're not interested. You're interested in other things. You're not interested in all of the vagaries and differences of various and sundry levels of mead, wine, beer, and cider.
Mm-hmm.
So your average Joe, so to speak, or Jane is like, yeah, I just know what I like. Okay, well, let's figure out what you like then.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I always start. I always look like, because my least favorite question is, what do you like? I'm like, it doesn't matter. What do you like? Like, tell me more about what you what do you like?
Yeah, what I like makes no difference because that's me. Yeah.
Yeah, we might have vastly different palates. So yeah, it's
absolutely.
To talk a little bit about what they like, and then go, okay, well, I might not have anything like, here's the closest thing I have to that, or do you like these flavors, or
that's where I love the idea of flights, because then they try a whole bunch of different stuff. And and I would line up, that guy that I was doing the helping him out with the farmers market, I'd line up all 6 of them and go, just take a sip of each one of these, and then let's talk about that. Let's figure out what's working for you. What do you like? What don't you like? What's grabbing you? What's not grabbing you? That'll help us zero in on what you really do want.
Yeah, and sometimes you really need to do that. Like, I needed to drink an awful lot of beer before I figured out what it was I did and didn't like about it.
Same. Right. Yeah. For me, it was my beer hunter friend or my beer geek friends taking me beer hunting. Get into the brewery and they're like, Vicky, just sit down there, drink this.
Here, drink this. Yeah.
What is it? It's a saison. Okay, what's that mean? I have no idea. It's a farmhouse ale, or it's this, or it's that. And I'm like, Belgian what? I don't know. I'm not a beer geek. You guys got to help me here. And then they'd laugh at me and tease me, and then they'd make me drink it.
We definitely find variety is key. Like you have to, like we'll do. And this is like it seems like such an obvious trick or strategy. Is we'll go to a farmer's market and I bring 4, I bring cases of canned meads. We always bring 4. And then just like you try this. You're like, well, I don't know. Like, well, you could just do 1 of each. And it's like you just invented like,
right? I can mix and match. Oh my God.
I don't have to commit to just one thing.
Yeah. It's like, I love that. Yeah.
Yes. Trisha always says, like, it's like a flight to go. And people are like, oh, and that's it. That's all.
That's good. I like that. That's great, Trish. That is, you need to hang on to that. That's good.
I do.
I'm a marketing person. So like my brain was like, oh yeah, that's flight to go. You betcha.
Great.
Now, how many meads do you guys generally have available in the meadery on average?
Usually 12 to 14 or so.
Okay.
Trying to think, what do we have now? I think we have 10 sessions and 3 standards. So yeah, we're in there.
So you have a lot of different flight to go opportunities there.
Yes.
Yeah. We try to package as many. I mean, anything standard strength we package. When we do a session, let's say if we're doing 7 barrels of it, we're canning 30 35 cases of it, and the rest goes on draft, and whatever sells, for like, do you have it in cans? Like, well, we did. And that's the funny part. Some of it sells on draft way quicker, and the cans sit around forever, and vice versa. So
yeah. I know some meaderies kind of took the sideways approach to that and went with, instead of like a full canning line, they are doing a lot, like Sergio did this for a while until he got his canning line, but he was doing crowlers.
Yeah.
So the canning setup, where you just make the can right there, which was fabulous for me because He didn't have the candy line yet.
And I went that.
Yeah, and he's like, well, that's only on tap, but I got the crawler machine. So he would just crawler me up a can of it, and it was awesome.
We want to bring back crawlers.
Yeah, we're trying because we know everyone has like hundreds of them in their basement. So we're
God, I've probably got like 20, 25. Yeah, and I'll probably accumulate more now that I've got a meadery real close to me, but no, crawlers with a C is they have like, I think they're 20-ounce cans.
32s generally.
32.
Yeah,
okay,
they're half of a half gallon. So
gotcha. Okay, so yeah, I just thought it was really cool because it meant that you could get. He would fill from a draft thing, and then put the top on and hand it to me, and I was like, yes.
Those got a lot of.
Yeah. To their point, though, it's like you end up with so many of these glass crawlers. It's like, oh my God,
absolutely,
what are you gonna do with them all?
Yeah. Yeah, the cidery up the road for me, I must have 5 or 6 of their jars. My dad had a couple of them over at the cabin, and he's like, will you do something with these?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of them, you can bring them back. Yeah, but, you don't always
most
get
of
there.
them will, bring them back, and you can refill them.
Right.
But, that was back before I lived here, so, I'd leave it at the cabin.
So you have a full canning line then? Or do you have a portable that comes in to help you with that?
We started with a mobile canning line. Yeah, we would team up with other brewers, like 3 to 4 at a time, because we didn't always have a ton of product, and to get those guys to, they want to guarantee if 100, 120 cases.
Yep.
And we have done that. There's times where we've had that. We're like, okay, we have that. We're not. We'll bring them in right to our place. But generally now, we have the other brewery that we work with has their own canning line, and then we basically bring kegs over and we can off of those. And then, we work with them. We just kind of trade labor. Like we help can their stuff and they help can our stuff. And it's really good.
That's great
relationship. And
that's cool.
Mm-hmm. And I noticed on your website, it looks like you have at least a couple offerings that use black raspberries, which is an amazing fruit, super intense. Is that locally sourced, or where is that coming from?
Mostly fruit purees that we use for those.
Oh, okay.
We have used, whole fruit and everything. And then once we got to a certain scale, we were just like, this doesn't make sense for us. But
right.
Yeah. Plus, the aseptic part of it is very important to me. Like every, this, you guys make me like every time you add something, you're adding some contamination. And so I like to try to keep those to a minimum as best I can anyways.
You guys going 750s, 350 or 375s? What size are your bottles?
Mostly, 500s and 750s.
500s and 750s. Okay.
16 cans.
Yeah.
I've seen a trend towards 375s, and it's like, well, that's great because it's basically a glass of mead.
And they say Americans don't use metric.
I'm getting sold on metric the more and more.
Oh yeah. I was really hoping that they'd sneak that in under the radar somewhere along the line during this cycle, And like wait until they're all yelling at each other up in Congress, and then somebody just slip that in there.
By the way, metric.
Yeah.
And the rest of the world.
And as long as we're at it, let's get rid of daylight savings time.
Oh God. Apparently, Ontario will only do that if New York and Quebec do too.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny because you can go into, I think is it Illinois or Indiana just refuses to participate. So does Arizona.
Yeah,
but
we've got one province that refuses as well.
Yeah, and I'm right there with them. It's like, no, this thing is stupid. Let's not do this. Yeah, it was great when we were all farmers, but we're not all farmers anymore.
It wasn't even great for the farmers. The farmers didn't want it. Politics ruins everything.
I'm telling you. Yeah. Well, that's cool though. Yeah. And speaking of which, you guys have got regulatory things to deal with up there. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, New York. Oh, you're talking about
New York has its share. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about Canada for a second.
No. I don't know I know Canada has whatever rules Canada's got. It varies depending on where in Canada you are, just like it does here. But
we certainly do. The farm legislation really made things a lot simpler for us, because before that we were, we had to be a winery or we were a farm winery, but with that you actually had to have a certain amount of acreage, which thankfully we did. But yeah, now with the way they call it, it says farm, but you don't have to be a farm. Like it allows you so much more access and flexibility into just getting your product out there. But I mean, I don't know why I'm talking about regulations. Trish knows more about these than me.
I got nothing to say. You're doing great.
I'm the dude that holds the mop. Everybody knows this.
Yeah, right. We know who the real boss is here.
Yes. Yes, you do.
Joe, you're doing great.
You might even get a raise.
Thank God.
If you're really, really good, we'll put an extra couple packs of sweet tarts in your Christmas bonus. Yeah.
That'd be Sour Patch Kids.
Yes,
Sour Patch Kids. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a nut for. I have got like a total addiction to sweet tarts. So keep boxes of the darn things in the house, and it's like, okay, I can have 4.
Mm-hmm.
I can say, I mean, we like our meads, like our beers, our wine, but at some point I can go, all right, that's enough for me. I cannot do that with Sour Patch Kids. There's at no point where I say I've had enough of those. I will eat them until I'm nauseous.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do with sweet tarts. So I've learned to restrict myself because I'll eat them until I get nauseous.
Gummy glowworms for me.
Ah, okay.
Yep, that works too.
Yeah, that's why I just don't bring them in the house.
So have you thought about going down that road, the candy road, which quite a few meaderies have gone down, along with things like sandwiches? So have you succumbed to any of the word of mouth trends that are raging about the nation?
No, I don't think so. No,
I'm looking at your list and I don't see anything that's particularly weird in here.
What are the candy trends? I'm not sure.
Well, like a Jolly Rancher mead.
Like a Jolly Rancher mead.
Like
yeah. There's
Mike and Ike mead.
Mike and Ike mead, yeah, right.
Oh man. Oh, okay.
Well, and then there's people that are running into, like pastry meads, like they're doing with pastry stouts, and so they're just kind of pulling from food basically, and usually junk food.
Well, of course.
Yeah, which is interesting, but it's just it's just fun to see. I mean, I don't always like all them, like PB&J meads. It's not my thing really.
But it's neat when they're well done.
But it's neat when they're well done, and
you don't want a whole bottle, but it's nice to try.
Yeah, it's absolutely. I appreciate them, for the skill sets, but flavor wise, it's just not my ball of wax. It's just not my thing. But it's fun. There was 2 or 3 of them at the Sugar Belt this weekend. So I was just like, they're like, you want this? No, I'll take that one though.
Yeah,
that really hasn't been our jam.
No, and I think I saw too many donuts going to too many mash tuns and breweries. I just can't.
Oh my god! Yeah, that cracked me up when I started seeing all that kind of stuff. It's like, alrighty then. Well, I mean, when my cherry pie recipe that I use Malab to get kind of a crust note going on in there. But when Brad at Be Nectar did it, he couldn't find sufficient quantities of Malab, so they ended up making pie crust and just throwing it in the fermenter.
I guess we did put graham crackers in the.
Okay.
To do that, I forgot about that.
Okay, what'd you do with graham crackers?
Just with the known as nightcap that we did. So it was it was a bourbon barrel aged mead with apple, ginger, a little lemon. It's supposed to be like an apple pie, a bourbon apple pie, basically. And I remember like 5 or 10 pounds of crushed graham crackers from the restaurant Depot here, and they just right through the hot port on the top of it, and let them sit in there for like a day, and then just pull them out.
And then you got to get them out of there. That's the fun part.
Exactly. Yeah, that's works sometimes. But that's just failed sometimes too, trying to lift them out. Nice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes you're like, oh, it's in there. All right, I guess we're bottling this today. Let's go.
You have a horchata mead.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's only by the glass. I can't.
So again,
bummer. I love horchata.
You'll just have to go visit them.
Yeah, I haven't been to upstate New York in a while, so
come on down.
Yeah, I drove up for that mead conference, and it was stunning. So yeah. Anyway, Kevin, sorry.
I want to explore that a little bit because I have one that I just finished, and To my dismay, it has dropped completely clear. And
ours does too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is one of the things where I desperately wanted it to be super cloudy, like horchata.
Like
Right.
horchata, yeah. Kevin had it when we went to Mexico last year, and he was like, "Oh, this stuff's great."
Yeah, it was great. I love
was
rice
great,
pudding,
yeah.
and it's
Same.
just it hit all the notes for me, and I thought, oh, I can make this. So, is yours clear or is it cloudy? And how did you keep it cloudy if it is?
It's clear. I mean, it was when you first mixed it and we had it. It was exactly what you're looking for. It looked like I don't know, the bottom
like
of a
milky, cloudy kind of, yeah.
And then, to quote one of my friends, brewer friends, when people couldn't figure out how to keep their hazy IPAs hazy, gravity's a thing.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, I know.
There's no, I don't. The only way I could figure to do it is if you kind of like some people with Hefeweizens will keep them upside down the keg so that they
right. You can rouse the yeast. You can do that, sure,
yeah.
but
Well, and I
not
would
quite
think
the same thing I was after.
with the horchata thing, though, if you wanted to get that haze, or that cloudiness, I would think that that's where the milk comes in.
Right.
Yeah,
Milk, like a milk wash on the thing. And who was I talking to that was doing milk washes on his? Oh, it was Four Fires, because they do all kind of weird shit. I think it was Four Fires anyway, and he was talking about how he did it. I tried this one meat. I'm like, my God, that's amazing. What is it? He's like, well, I was screwing around with this, and then I thought, oh, I'm just gonna put some milk in there, and then I just decided to do a milk wash, and oh my God, and I was like, so this was an accident? And he's like, pretty much.
I mean, that could work. Well,
and horchata is based on that there's dairy in that.
Right. Well, or it's sweetened condensed milk.
Or sweetened condensed milk, but it's got a dairy component to it. So that's where you could get your cloudy from, I would think, because I don't think that'll clear.
Unless I mean, I never made a lactomel, but I would imagine they do eventually clear because milk is just a colloidal suspension, and whatever fermentation does probably breaks a lot of that down.
Well, if you did it in secondary, it might be different.
Yeah, maybe.
No, lactose. If it's lactose that you're using, it'll still clear.
Okay. I haven't played with lactose, so.
But, I mean, it's in beer all the time, right? Milk stout with lactose, and they're clear.
Yeah.
That's just the sugar.
Yeah, so that was a little disappointing for me. But so then for the almond element, are you using an extract, or what are you doing there?
Yeah,
absolutely. We especially something that's non-allergenic, like any kind of thing like that. We just
you'd have to be careful because nut allergies.
Sure. Yeah, we always use an extract when it comes to anything like almond or nut, something like that. But yeah, I wish I could tell you how to keep them hazy. I can't. 2 days every time you put them on draft. 2 days later, they're crystal clear.
Right. I mean, but like with a Hefeweizen or something similar to that, you can, there's other things you can do. Like you can add, there's wheat in there and so on, and that helps to improve the retention of that particulate. But eventually, that'll drop clear too. So I mean,
that's it's kind of ironically hilarious.
What?
How many people do we see bitching about how the beats won't drop clear?
I know.
And y'all are bitching that they did.
I'm like doing everything I can to make it stay hazy, and no. A month later,
goes to show you how contrary mead can be.
I can read through it. Dang it!
But even with beer, with brewers, the same thing. I'm just like, their West Coast has to be clear. Their lagers, and then they use like, I can't keep the haze stability in my beer. I'm like, did you just use those two words together? Like,
exactly. In a sentence on purpose.
Right.
It's like intentionally rusting something. What?
Right? Yeah. Well, I'm looking for that patina. Yeah. So you
should add glitter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There you go. It needs some glam here. You guys feel ready to tackle some Nathan questions?
Oh, bring it on.
Sure.
All right. That's what I like to hear. A brave man. All right. So, a great marriage and your meadery combined appear to be based on your unique partnership of passion and a high degree of communication. In your meadery, what would you attribute to creating the best partnership without problems or pride?
Delegation
This
is
is Nathan, so
yeah.
Yeah, I think we've always. I mean, we grew up working. We met at a country club working together, right? So we met doing like structured
Work.
customer service. So I think
Mhm.
we had that background, and then we had our professional careers, and then coming into this, we've just always known that it's very important when it's like people coming in your house. They need to be comfortable and they need to feel welcome. And I think that communicate, like having that communication between us. If we can't do it, how on earth is it going to come across to the people that come in there? So I think we've just always made that a very big priority, that it's we need to know what each other, and of course we fail at that miserably sometimes, but I mean, it's, I always say, like, if you're going to get into business with your spouse, alcohol is a good way to do it. But you got, it's definitely, it's been a learning experience, but I think we've gotten to a point where it's definitely we're much better at communicating, and for sure, as Tricia, delegating those duties. Like, we used to just be way too much in each other's business. Now it's like, you got that? Yeah, good. Okay, I'm going to do something else. That's been key.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So an add-on question to that: how does your collaborative work together ensure celebration of your future anniversaries? And do you have an anniversary reserve mead selection in progress?
No, we should. Oh no, I guess we have some. Actually, that a mead collection for anniversaries. No, we don't. But
well, there's the bottles that we set aside on the desk.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we do. I suppose we do. Sorry, make me a liar. That's true.
We sit at the desk.
That's true. I don't sit at the desk. Exactly. What was the other part of the question? I told you I was going to screw these up.
Well, yeah. Do you have an anniversary reserve mead selection in process? Was the other half of that?
Yeah. Yeah. That part. Yes. Yeah. I guess we did.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, part of that is the mead cave, because if you're meadery, you gotta have the stuff you set aside.
Well, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yes. There's always, like, there's certain bottles of we're like, well, I'm not sure if we're going to make that anytime soon. You get to those last 2 or 3 bottles, you're like, yep, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. We're out. Yep, that goes into the library.
That's staying with us.
Yeah. Okay, so let's continue with the Nathan questions. You're doing well so far. You have an extensive mead cocktail menu on your tasting room. Knowing that your Bochet Bobby has a bourbon barrel option through your process with Black Button Distilling, have you considered creating a citrus-forward gin-inspired mead from them outside of use of this solely in the cocktail offerings, or even potential their lilac gin?
Ooh, that's a great question.
This is all you.
So this is definitely with the popularity of the Bobby cocktails and just that placement of mead into cocktails. I think there's definitely opportunity, and we've talked about this many times over. There's a couple of different liqueurs that we'd like to try and mimic. There's a saffron liqueur that's out there. We would love to try and get into and work and see if we can get develop an example of that. Or there's also curacao, which is something that we would like to try and mimic in a mead style too.
Okay.
So we can develop and add more cocktails onto our list.
Very cool.
All right. He also asks, Masterson's Nursery Honey Harvest Festival has been a gem in your outreach in the community. What would you say draws you the most to this gathering of enthusiasts of beekeeping, honey, and craft beverages?
It's where we sold our first bottle. This is our first
event. Oh, really? Oh, that's great.
That's like the first dollar you put in a frame on the wall, right?
Yeah, and it actually goes like before that too, because when we were in development, they in the process of getting our license, they actually took our product and were just sampling it, saying, "Oh, these guys are opening a meadery." They've just always been hugely supportive of us, and I think to us it just kind of comes because we went we spent a whole summer making meads, right? Making very small batches of meads and bottling them, packaging all that, and then we went there for 2 days and basically sold out of them. we were like, okay, we might need more stuff.
But we're happy, and this is a good thing.
And that kind of got us thinking, like, there's something more to this, right? Because we just didn't. There wasn't much to be known about mead around at that time, at least not around here. And so that festival for us is just absolutely a I don't know. It's almost like a New Year's thing. It's like where you're like it brings you back around. You're like, oh yeah, like it's time for Mastersons again. It's kind of where it all started.
I think it's a wonderful thing where you can bring beekeepers and mead makers together to enjoy the magic that the bees are, but then the magic that ends up in that bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I think it's
I like that.
It's a great communal kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that very much. That's a great way to look at it.
All right. His final question, and this is a long, multi-part question. So listen very carefully because there is a quiz at the end. Nearly a decade ago, you were experimenting with your creation, Honey and Hops, that contained lemon, hops, and local honey, and then released a seasonal mead made with wet hops featuring Cascade and Chinook. Between each of these did you notice in working through the flavor pairings with these hops to dial in the most enjoyable profile?
Yeah, I think so. The honey hop started with it was Cascade, Chinook, and Centennial, and that was just for us. It was just the three. I mean, at the time, that was the 3 C's, right? Like that was with every pale ale, IPA, and then the wet hops started just because those were the only ones we could actually get wet hops with, and yeah, couldn't get the other variety. But I think that was the first batch we made when we first started with much larger. We started off with 4 60-gallon, poly plastic fermenters, and that honey and wet hops was the first one we did in there. And I mean, we put so many hops in there. Out of those 60 gallons, I think we got 30, maybe.
Wow!
But don't get me wrong, it was also fantastic. And but yeah, that's just that. So that's really just how that started. Those were the hops we knew at the time. But now, and also the problem with that honey and hops is it was 9.8%. People still ask us to make that again, and I'm like, "Are you sure you don't remember those hangovers?" Like,
yeah, well, those are probably the people that don't get the hangovers.
Yeah, I sure remember those hangovers.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then now with that, we've never. I don't think we ever did the wet hop again after that, and I don't recall why. I think it was tough to get those hops after that. It just fell out of the routine for us, but.
Such a timing thing, though, too.
It is, yeah, because you have a day, maybe, right? Like, and they really have to go in right away. I think we got lucky too, in a sense, because I mean, wet hops. Kevin, I'm assuming you've used wet hops before, right? I mean, they are just filled with critters. I mean,
well, that would be one reason to boil, or at least do a hot whirlpool at pasteurizing temperature, something like
absolutely.
That.
Yeah, and we didn't that first time, and it still came out great. I think maybe, and it could be because it was just high alcohol. I don't know, but I think we kind of got. I think we kind of got lucky with that first one.
Well, bugs can actually bring an interesting dimension to it because we had that happen with. I bought a leftover partial bucket of heather honey, and I got it at Bee Folks up in Maryland. And they're over in Maryland. I'm not south of Maryland anymore. Over in Maryland, down in Maryland, and I was happy to have it. I mean, she cut me a great deal on it, and I'm like, woo, Heather honey, woo, and toddled my way down to Brimminghorn Meadery, which was kind of sort of almost on my way home, and so John Talkington, he's like, so you having fun? He knew I was doing a kind of a meadery round. I was up in DC for like 3 or 4 days, hit like 5 meaderies. And in the various areas around there and got the honey and so forth and so on. And so I opened up the trunk of my car and I'm like, and one of the things I got was heather honey, and John's like, oh, heather honey, really? And I was like, yeah. Said, you interested? And he's like, absolutely. And so I basically gave him the honey, and he was going to make mead from it, and then I was going to get some of the mead. He was going to get some of the mead, and he was going to cut me an extra special deal on the stupid amount of mead that I bought while I was there. So it all worked out. Everybody was happy. We all, everybody went home happy, all that kind of thing. Calls me up about 3 days later and says, "There's ants in this mead." I was like, "There's what?" He says, "There's ants in this honey at the bottom." When I scooped the honey out the bucket, there was a layer of ants at the bottom. I'm like, "You're shitting me." And he's like, "Yeah, they were all dead and everything." But so I just filtered them out and we went ahead making the mead. And I was like, "All right, then, I waste Heather honey. It's Heather honey. You can't waste that. Stuff's so like ridiculously expensive." And so he went ahead and made it. And as it turned out, formic acid, which is what ants have in them,
it's kind of tasty.
It is kind of tasty. Yeah, I sent a bottle up to AJ, and I've
within reach.
Yeah, Tracy's got one, and and I've got a few more left in that, and it's just it really turned out well. I was like, well, already then. Sometimes bugs are good,
and sometimes they're bad. My uncle got a batch of wine concentrate once, where we think what happened was it was the year where the ladybugs were like going completely insane at harvest time, and you could taste it in the wine.
Huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well,
it was a very weird off taste.
One of the acids that goes into treating your bees for mites.
Yeah, Formic Pro.
Yeah, Formic Pro.
We used that last year.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the natural treatments instead of
it's one of the few things you can do when you got honey supers on, because
I think
Ontario still doesn't let you put oxalic acid through.
Yeah, because
back to the hop thing too. Yeah. So did you find when you were using the wet hops that the mead was very grassy?
Not really. And I would have expected it to be, but yeah, in this case, it was just a really nice. I don't want to say juicy, not like quite like that, but it was just a very nice citrusy flavor that it added.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think grassy is a really common characteristic that people talk about when they're doing wet hop meads or beers, really. But
yeah, for sure. But yeah, and then just we found too out of just simplicity. Eventually, I just started using Citric because I'm like, it's basically instead of 3 hops, I could use 1, and it's pretty much.
The same thing. And it's so available too, of course.
It's exactly
great.
Exactly.
And let's face it. I mean, hops are a little pricey, but they're really a small percentage of your ingredient load, so it's not that big of a deal. Well, I don't know. Do we have any more questions? Because we're up on the 2-hour mark here now.
I don't think so.
Anybody in the chat? I don't think we have too many people in there today.
Nope, and no recent emails either.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I need to run upstairs. We have a new puppy, and he's going ape. So I will be back shortly.
Puppies. All right.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
More puppy crises?
No, I actually have John here this time. No, it's going to get interesting in June. He's gone for almost the entire month for some conference he's putting on. Yeah. So that's not going to be fun. But yeah, what did I miss?
Kevin had to step away, so.
Oh, Kevin, so he left you all on your own, huh?
Yep.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, just all of a sudden had to go to the loo. What can I say?
These things happen.
Yeah. So what's on the agenda for you guys moving forward? What are you looking at?
We're good. I don't know. Were there possible changes coming in the future for us? But maybe more like consolidation with some other people in the industry and things like that. But
okay.
I think a comfortable thing that we're finding running a tap room is great, but we're getting very far away from why we got into this, and that is to make and sell mead. And so we're looking at maybe joining forces with another local brewery.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so still keeping it there, but giving ourselves more chance to really, and also push sales. I mean, you guys, mead is it's a national product, not just a local one. So so we're looking at that, and then we just like
more creative.
Get more creative, exactly. Like we probably have 50 or 60 different brands that we've produced so far, and we haven't made some of them in 3 or 4 years. Like we'd like to be able to get back to making those and getting those out there, and making that more the focus, not just as much as I love mopping the floor. We'll, if we can get that, see if we can reprioritize what we do.
Yeah. Well, that's understandable. The business part of it tends to, and the upkeep parts of it can take away from that love of mead making.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, I know, Tricia, you were kind of the one that led the way into mead with your slipping into it sort of half accidentally from wine. Like, oh, honey, okay, yeah, that's way better than sugar. But are you guys collaborating on coming up with flavors, or is one of you sort of lead the way, or?
Yeah, I would say the majority of them are her flavors.
Okay.
I just like there's if you look at our products, if it's got more than 2 things in it, it's probably her recipe. If it's got 2 or less, it's probably mine. I'll tell you. But there's like adjuncts and fruits and spices and things. But yeah, I think I'm trying to think of what we have up there now. I would say probably 2/3 of them, if not more, are her recipes. I just figure out how to make them so that she says, "Yep, those are good."
So this is why the marriage works really well.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, let's do something like this. And I kind of come up with an idea and we'll do this. And I'm like, all right, Joe, make it happen. And he does. He makes it happen. And then I come in on the end and we solidify the final tasting together.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
I like that.
A lot of it comes. It's just I want to like a horchata mead. I want to do a horchata mead. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you're gonna have to help me out with that.
I don't even know what horchata is.
Yeah, I had no idea what's in this.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, when we were in Mexico for Copa Hidromel last year, my friend, Raul, who's not here tonight, but Raul came into town. He lives up in Monterey, so over in the next state. And he came down to Mexico City and basically dragged us all over Mexico City for a week. And one of the places he took us was this restaurant where we said we could get the best barbacoa in Mexico City. And we're like, we don't know what barbacoa is, but that sounds great. And when we got there, he's like, just order a horchata. And I knew what horchata was because you can get it in bottles. It's not quite the same as what they have down there, but you get the gist of things, And I was like, oh, heck yeah, horchata sounds awesome. So, we got that, and Kevin was new to it. So he was like totally down with it.
Yeah, I think I had 3 or 4 glasses.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah. We kept getting more. I know I was the same way. I loved it. It was way better than anything I can get in a bottle so far. I'm waiting on you guys to nail it. So, then I can get it. Of course, you got to put it in a bottle too and not have it on tap because I am not driving up there to get growler. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
I know. Well, yeah. And if we had a label design for it, I think, or we used to have just a generic label we could put on and handwrite these things. But I would absolutely just go can 5 or 10 cases because we get asked that question a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. I do that a lot with my friends who do a lot of who did a lot of draft stuff, and it's like, God bless it, you made this one that I really, 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 really want, and you're like 5 states away from me, and I can't come out there, and I really, really want this. I run into that a fair amount of the time.
But that's pretty much our process. It's just different, like different flavors. And then of course, then we had to figure out, for me, I had to figure out how to do this on a larger scale and then how to do it efficiently and affordably too. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, most of the time, it basically comes down to she'll be sitting in the office at the desk and I pop a glass down and they say, all right, let's do this. That's true. And then we have an assistant too that does really a lot of the making of the must and the cleaning of the tanks and things like that. I'm coming in like oversight and I mean, not that I don't still do it, but I'll still come and go, okay, like now let's add this, a little more of this. And then generally with Trish, we just go, she's going to tell us to put it all in there. I know she's going to be right. Just do it. I don't, or she'll like, just try these 2 flavors. And they're like, 5 years ago, I would have been, I don't know. Now I'm like, I'm sure it's good. Just put it in there. It's great. Just do it.
You learned.
And
trust the process.
You're right.
Yes,
And that
yeah.
kind of goes back to the question earlier, like, how do you guys work together? In that way, I just go, she's going to be right about this. I know. So just, I trust her palate. I trust her instinct. And, let's just, leave the trust there and get this done.
It's the rules of marriage. Rule number 1, the woman is always right. Rule number 2, if the woman is wrong, see rule number 1.
How does my husband put it? Happy wife, happy life.
Yep, that's it too.
Yeah.
And now, Tricia, do you have a copy of the Flavor Bible?
I do.
Atta girl.
It all the time.
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful book. There was another one that they told me to get. Hang on a second, and I'll tell you what it is. Because it's in my cart. I just haven't got it yet. If I got all the books I wanted, I'd blow our budget like right out of the water. It would be bad. Okay, let's see here. Where was it? It's not the Home Apothecary or the Biology of the Honeybee. Spice. Oh, the Science of Spice.
Ooh, no.
Yeah. And then the other one is the Flavor Matrix.
I'm writing those down.
Yeah.
A pinch of the nose in an Amazon order.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. You just close your eyes and hit buy. I mean, that's the terrifying thing. That's where I always start with as an Amazon. Sometimes I end up buying something somewhere else, but
hey,
Amazon.
I actually found my copy of the Flavor Bible I bought for my husband at the Indigo.
Oh, nice.
The actual honest to God bookstore. I walked into a real bookstore.
Wow, I'm surprised. I mean, I would love to be able to find that in a bookstore, but that's not the sort of thing they generally carry.
They had one copy and it was on a shelf and I had to go looking for it.
I'll bet. I would say the problem with bookstores, at least in the States, is that they only go with like the top level stuff everybody recognizes. So you see like, authors, and yada, yada, yada. And, you get the Betty Crocker stuff, but you don't necessarily get like, the Flavor Bible. So yeah, and it's my weird stuff. I've got to go find that elsewhere.
Yeah, where I get a lot of inspiration from are the cooking shows.
Oh, I know, right? The great British baking show has got to be a great one.
Yes, I get a lot of inspiration from that show.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. See, my problem is that my biggest one is diners, drive-ins, and dives. Not a lot of mead flavors in there,
Oh, but there's some really tempting things.
Grease into a mead.
You're right. Yeah. That hasn't stopped me from figuring out how to make some of the stuff I see on there and make a list if it's in a city that we are going to be going somewhere near. But yeah, it's always the hunt for new flavor combinations. Always. Yes. That's pretty cool. Well, this is really great. I guess I'm gonna have to. I've got several people up east that are after me to come out for a visit, so I'll just have to add you guys to the list. And it looks like I need to go wandering up there at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you're not gonna have to twist my arm hard to get me into upstate. It's pretty up there, and I haven't been as far west as you guys are, because I was up more in the middle of the state, up Finger Lakes area. For that conference, and I didn't have enough time to go wandering. I got up there, I did the thing, and then I had to go home.
Well, we're only about 45 minutes from Niagara Falls too, so that's a big thing for people.
Right? I have not been to yet, and I can cross over to go up and see AJ. So
And also, there's a lot of really nice in the Niagara on the lake area. Really good wineries.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like wall-to-wall wineries up there. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nuts. That's one of the things we did on our honeymoon, was go and tour a bunch of wineries.
Winery hopping? Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. We've been talking about going to Niagara for a very long time, so it's something that's definitely on the bucket list.
And if you don't have a problem with heights, cross the border and get a good view of the U.S. side of the falls from the Canada side, like however many stories up, just below the restaurant.
Yeah,
it was fun.
If I'm standing on something solid, I can handle the heights.
Yep, there's chain link fence between you and the outside. It's
fine. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, it's only when they want me to jump off of it that I start to have a problem.
Yeah. Jumping out of a perfectly safe airplane? No.
No, I jumped off a perfectly good cliff in college, so I had a rope attached to me and a bunch of army guys telling me to put my feet on the wall and pour down. But
Rappelling I could probably do. Bungee jumping, no. Hell no.
Rappelling was like, it ended up being super awesome. It was terrifying to start with, but ended up being super awesome.
Skydiving's fun. I recommend it.
I haven't done that yet. That's on the bucket list, and I've been meaning to, and I just have not done it yet. I got to, because sooner or later I'm going to get to the point where I'm too feeble to do it. So,
what do you mean? 95-year-olds do it.
Yeah.
I know, right?
Sometimes they buddy you with someone.
Yeah, they.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah, they don't just throw a
Absolutely
newbie out of the plane. Yeah, what happens if they forget to pull the string? That's really bad for business. Yeah, they went.
You know, you don't need a parachute to skydive.
You just do it land.
You need it if you're going to do it a second time.
Well, you could just do the Robert Adams method of skydiving, which is to throw yourself at the ground and miss.
Douglas Adams.
Thank you. Yeah, Robert Adams was the Horse Clans book. Sorry, my author's mixed up. But throw yourself at the ground and miss.
That's how you fly.
That's how you fly. It's easy.
Yes,
Anybody can do
geeks.
it. Yeah. Sorry. But this is cool. This has been very cool. And now I'm gonna have to, as soon as I've got a meat budget, I'll have to pick up a couple of things from you guys. But yeah, you really need to think about putting that horchata in bottles. I'm just saying, or cans or something. Just something that can travel. That would be great. Thank you.
I'm actually canning tomorrow morning. Who knows?
Oh yeah, well, if you do end up canning some of those, and you let me know. I'll let a couple of other people know. And, we'll make it go away. Yeah, we'll make it go away. I think we could manage that. I have friends. But yeah, this has been a hoot. I'm really glad you guys decided to come on the show. We appreciate it.
No, please, thanks for
thank
having
you
us.
so much for having us.
Yeah.
No, anytime. I look forward to meeting you guys in person at some point. Hopefully not in the not too distant future.
Yeah, for sure.
Once I get to a point where I'm not knee deep in building materials, fun and games.
Please wait 4 to 6 years for delivery.
Oh Lord. I'm telling you, my whole garage is full of building materials, and my cousins come over and laugh at me. Like, wow, could your garage be any fuller? I'm like, it's about to be a lot emptier if we can ever get the electric done in the bathroom and get all the shit in there. So, that's just what it is. I've never had to do renovations on this scale before. It's just a learning experience.
It's a ton of fun. We had a house fire a couple of years ago and basically rebuilt it.
Oh dear.
So I lots of building materials in the garage.
Oh yeah. We've got plywood, and there's a vanity and medicine cabinet, and there's wallboard, and there's tile, and there's just all kind of crap out there. So yeah. So much so that I have to pull the circular saw out of the garage if I want to cut something.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
But
except it has to come out over a Chevette.
Mine does not have to go over a Chevette, so there's that. That does have that advantage. But right now, it's like if it were deer season right now, we'd be screwed because my chain fall that I hang the carcasses from is further in and next to a whole bunch of wallboard and plywood and
well, I guess you've got a deadline now, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much. Got to have it done by fall. So, honestly, it should be. We got to get this bathroom put together to where we can get the plumber back out here to finish up his part of it sometime in the next week or so. Or he's just gonna bill me and say to hell with you. We're done. He's been a very patient man. But we'll let you guys. We'll let you guys go back to your lives, and thank you so much. This has been great. I'll look at the mead budget and see if I can't pick up a few things, and keep an eye out for horchata in a can, or anything.
For sure. No, again, thank you for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
It's been great, you
Good.
guys.
Yeah,
Nice to have you.
it's been awesome. Yeah, if I find myself heading up that way, I'll let you guys know.
Sounds like
good.
a plan.
All right, man.
All right.
Take care,
Take
guys.
care.
Good night.
Night.
You too.
Night.
Have a good one. Night.
Thank you.
Okay, so coming up, May 20th, we've got oh no, that was today. Sorry. June 3rd, we've got Brian Taylor. I don't know what day it is. Don't talk to me. Yeah, June 3rd, we were gonna have Brian from Censure Imports, but he had something come up and he couldn't make it. So June 3rd, we are now having Brian Taylor with Nidhogger Mead Company in the UK. I'm finalizing that, but it's looking like he's going to be on that day. But that'll be really cool. He is one of the meads that Censure Imports does imports, obviously. But they are bringing in from Slovakia, from Poland, from I think the Czech Republic too, from UK, and a couple of other places. And he has and I posted this earlier on the Got Mead page on Facebook, so go take a look. He has a Vino Shipper store where you can buy these European meads here in the States to come straight to your door. I mean, that's pretty darn awesome. It's hard to find foreign meads in this country. There are only a very few that tend to make it over here because meaderies the world over tend to be fairly small. And, overseas shipping is a little bit, it takes a certain amount of volume to be able to get to that point. So definitely check that out. And this is the same guy that is doing the Magical Meadery Tour. I'm trying to get him in for the second show in June. So hopefully he'll be able to do that. I'm just waiting to hear back from him. But in the meantime, though, we will have Nidhogger Mead in the UK on the 3rd. And then a bunch of events coming up. May 21st, Clear Skies Meadery in Washington, D.C. has an Intro to Mead seminar. So they talk about what mead is, where it comes from, where it's going, and some basics on how to make it. So it's just kind of a, geek out on mead sort of thing. May 21st, Kingview Mead, Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania has a trivia night. On May 22nd, the Skeptic Meadery in Mount Juliet, Tennessee has Mead Making 101. May 22nd, Kingview Meadery, Mount Lebanon, PA has Covered 2 with live music. May 23rd has Grimsby Hollow Meadery in Middleville, Michigan with a Dungeons and Dragons meetup. May 23rd, Scuffleville Brewing Company. I love that name. In Collinsville, Virginia has a Manuka mead release. Now, this was somebody that I didn't know was making mead, so I'm checking them out now. But Manuka mead, Manuka is a very highly flavored honey. And we're talking like makes buckwheat look mild. So something to think about. It's definitely a strong flavor and one that, is definitely worth trying out and checking out and see if it's something that you like. But a Manuka mead, that's pretty unusual, especially here because most of the Manuka never makes it out of New Zealand. May 23rd, Apis Mead Winery in Carnegie, Pennsylvania has the Electric Duo live music. May 23rd, St. Ambrose Cellars in Beulah, Michigan has Rebecca John with live music. May 25th, Ironstone Meadery in Erie, PA. So there's another one out on the Erie shore. Has Draft and Mead draft picks from Tarker Dragonstorm and Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate blocks. AJ, you probably know more about what that is than I do. Yeah, I don't know. They're doing combining things, I guess. May 20 and mead, which is always good. May 26th, St. Ambrose Cellars, Beulah, Michigan has their Honeybee Artisans Market. May 29th, Adesanya Meadery in Granville, Michigan has Movie Madness Trivia Night. May 29th, St. Ambrose Cellars, Beulah, Michigan has La Rose live music. May 31st, Grimsby Hollow Meadery in Middleville, Michigan has Drink Mead, Learn Things, the Macabre World of Medieval Medicine. Interesting subject. June 2nd, St. Ambrose Cellars, Beulah, Michigan, Honeybee Artisans Market. June 4th, Honey and Hops Brewworks in Front Royal, Virginia has a mead and cheese pairing. June 4th, Kingview Mead, Mount Lebanon, PA has Trivia Night. June 6th to 8th, Birmingham Meadery, Milton, Delaware has the Party Like It's 793 Mead, Metal, and Viking Festival. If you like metal music and you like mead, this is definitely worth checking out. I'd love to go. I'm not a metal fan, but I do like the mead. And it's a great party. It really is. June 7th, Mountain Run Meadery, Culpeper, VA, Age of the Viking Mead Festival 2025. June 13th, Kupka's Good Bee Meadery in Auburn, Indiana has Steve Gallagher with live music. And on June 18th is Kingview Mead, Mount Lebanon, Pennsylvania, Trivia Night. And support your local meadery. If you don't have a local meadery, you can get mead from all over the country if you just go to shopmeads.com. So definitely check that out. Support the meaderies so they can keep making great stuff and keeping us all happy. And if you'd like to get your event on Got Mead Live, let us know. Gotmead@gotmead.com. We'll be happy to put it up there for you. In the meantime, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and be excellent to one another.
Take care.
Night, everyone.
Night all.